Are we're live now, apparently. No, we're not live yet. Now we're live. Okay, we're officially live. Starting casually late as always, as we're known for at PWF. We got Ayindei join us.
What's going on, man?
It's great to have you, man. So let me start off with kind of going through the story of how I decided to even have you on. Okay. So I learned about you during the whole Fresh and Fit debacle, and initially, like my impression was like, okay, like this is I guess kind of funny, but then it was when Fresh and Fit said, oh, this guy Ayindei was creeping out the girls. I was like, all right, let me check out his content and see if like he gives that creepy vibe. And I was like, he doesn't. I was also like, this guy seems to kind of understand game, because kind of we're talking about game recognizes game, and he seems like he has fitness pretty down. So at that point, I was like, all right, I want to have this guy on, kind of piece his thoughts about all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. So yeah, I was just talking to a sub, like he made a comment, and I thought it was really interesting. And he just was like, listen, when you do the little bit of research and you analyze the analytics of their fan base, you come to realize that majority of their fans fall between the age group of 15 and 24. And then if you break that down, 15 to 19 is where the majority of fans lie, in between 15 to 24, right? So in other words, the biggest piece of the pie, you know what I mean, for them is 15 to 19. Those guys are extremely young, man. So that's not even a demographic that you can really reason with. And then the next largest portion of their demographic, of course, falls into 19 to 25. You see what I mean? So the point I'm making is they have very few guys that are in the late 20s and in the mid 30s. So it's like they're not going to recognize real is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They're not gonna relate, so to speak.
Well, you have the issue of like idol worship. So for example, on this YouTube channel, like I could make a video that says a key part of good game and getting laid is taking your dick and putting it in a jar of mayonnaise every morning. And there's gonna be a certain percentage of my audience that would do that, right? In good faith. So you have that like kind of like fan worship where I think a lot of guys, they didn't have role models. So they put their favorite YouTuber as that category, or their dad or someone else who's like a legit role model should have been. And that's like the problem why you have like the hardcore fan culture. But kind of I want to bring it back. So let's start off with, how did you get started with game in general?
To be honest with you, bro, I don't think there was ever really a start. I think where I grew up was extremely competitive.
Where did you grow up?
And I'm not just talking about like with women. I grew up in New York. So like that environment is already like hustle and bustle, dog eat dog. So as a kid, I was a hustler. I was always trying to sell something. You know what I'm saying? I never accepted no for an answer. So my mom be like, no to the things that I want. You know, like, oh, I want these Ninja Turtles. No. You know what I'm saying? I want these new Jordans. No. You know, I want this car. No. So every time I heard no, what I really heard is figure out how to get it yourself. So I think learning how to basically be a salesman, I think just translated over well, like when I was going through puberty, like when I was going through that stage, I think it just translated over well. You understand what I'm saying? Being able to like hustle and make deals and make trades and get what I want. Matter of fact, you know, memory lane, just so like give you a story to kind of put in context the type of game I'm talking about. Rewind. I remember I was in Catholic school. Must have been around 7, 8 years old. And it was wintertime. It's fucking cold. Actually, it was going into Christmas season. And I remember, bro, there was this kid in school and he was like just straight up teasing me. Like, and back then it kind of would be like the toys that you have is kind of like an expression of what's going on in your home. So he had like all the toys, like everything you wanted, he had at that time. Whatever was out, he had it. And it was just really because his mom was dating like some rich dude. So it's like there's like things already being learned in the story if you're paying attention to the picture that I'm painting. So it's like I have a single moms. Most of the kids there, they got single moms or whatever. So we got whatever our moms could afford, which isn't going to be much. Right. So we're waiting on Christmas to basically get toys. This guy, he's getting shit all year round. Why? Because his mom is being spoiled by some, I guess you would call him a simp today. Back then, we just thought that was the coolest thing, that your mom's dating some dude that was going to buy you anything you want. We don't really care about how cool he is or whatever. We just like the fact that he can be taken advantage of and the kid can profit, right?
If I buy this little kid toys, I get to bang the mom.
Hey, I don't know if that's what was going on. I was only like 8. Okay, you know what I'm saying? What I'm seeing on my end is that this kid has all these fucking toys. He's getting cocky and arrogant about it, and he's teasing. So I started playing a psychological mind game with him. I was like, listen, I'm getting this, and this in Christmas. And he was like, no, you're not. I was like, yes, I am. My mom got a new boyfriend. He does this, and this. He's like, what? Where? So basically, I got this kid so hyped up. I said, listen, I'm bringing all my He-Mans. You know what I'm saying? I'm bringing my Lion-O. What? Lion-O? Yes, I got Lion-O. At the time, Lion-O was like on back order. Nobody could get Lion-O. You get Panthro, Tiger, all the other Thundercats. You couldn't get Lion-O. Lead guy was sold out. So I gassed this kid up. I said, I tell you what, Dad, first day after Christmas, bring all your toys. I'm gonna bring all my toys. We're gonna see what's up. Here's the thing, though. I was running straight game. My mom wasn't dating nobody. Here's the thing. Catholic school, you can't bring your toys to school. If you bring your toys to class and the teacher finds out, she locks them up in the closet, and then your mom or your parent has to come to the school and get it from the teacher. So basically, if you bring a toy and you get it confiscated, you're not getting it back unless your parent comes to get it. That was like the graveyard of toys. There was mad toys in there that nobody claimed because you didn't want to admit to your mom you brought the toy to school and get an ass whooping. So a lot of kids just let it go and left the toy in there. Okay, we're getting to the punchline. We're getting to the punchline. So I tricked this kid into bringing all his fucking toys. Like, this motherfucker brought a sack. You know what I'm saying? He brought all his shit. So I brought a bag. I filled it up with like some, bullshit. Just made it seem like, I had all like Christmas wrapping paper with it. I made the bag real puffy, like it was full. So it's sitting by my desk. And he's like, take your toys out. Look, he's like showing his toys. I'm like, nah, I'm not pulling it out yet. He's like, showing all his toys. Sure enough, he gets the teacher's attention. She comes, she confiscates all this kid's toys. See what I'm saying? We go to recess.
Trapped him.
She puts all his toys in the fucking closet, tells him his mom has to come get him. We go to recess. I sneak back into the fucking classroom. I take my library card, slip it in between that fucking door, open up the closet door. I took all that motherfucker's toys. Now, don't take from this story, oh my God, Ayindei's a thief. He was a fucking thief as a kid. The point is, this kid teased me, he bullied me, he manipulated me, like, with the fact that it's like, I have these cool toys and you don't have shit. You made me feel like I was a fucking loser because I couldn't get any of those toys. So I tricked his dumb ass into bringing all his fucking toys, right? And then I left with the sack, all right? Hid it in the bush. After school, I had all the fucking toys I wanted for that Christmas season. The moral of the story is that same mental game that I played on him to get what I wanted is the same mental game I played on girls when I got to that age. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just be that many steps ahead of them. You're
strategic. Okay. You kind of like, the vibe I always got from you is that, like, from your videos, that you're like very much like a natural. Like, I'm assuming you didn't really have to like study pickup lines and study game. Like, you probably lost your virginity pretty early in life, I would guess.
I never like repeated like a line that I heard somebody else say. My lines were always organic. Tailor-made to that individual. You look at a girl for a few minutes, you analyze her, you should come up with something real cool and unique to say that only can apply to her. And that's going to make it come off as genuine because it's like, it can only apply.
No, for sure.
Right to her. As far as losing the virginity, I was actually late on it. But
how old were you?
I was like 17. But here's the thing. But like in my neighborhood, like the kids were losing it at 14, 15, 16. But majority of the guys, the way they were losing it is they would find like a scallywag in the neighborhood that they can run a train on. And I would always be like the lookout or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I was never cool with it. Like I never was interested in putting my dick in a girl after other guys had already. Like I just was like, And I was a little bit of a I don't know if you want to say a romantic or what, but when I was like 14, 15, 16, I always thought, I'm going to lose my virginity to a girl that's like perfect, that I'm in love with, and all this. I had all these bullshit ideals. So the way it ended up happening actually had nothing to do with that. And the crazy thing was, in my neighborhood, that might have been considered late, or in my culture, that might have been considered late. But it actually put me miles ahead of everyone else.
In what sense?
Because I lost my virginity to a super senior. This chick was 19. She got left back. So she should have already been in college. So technically speaking, I was fucking a college age girl at 17. And the thing is, by my first being her, I learned way more than guys did maybe their first 10 lays. Real talk. Because she was very experienced. And she was very directorial. You know what I'm saying? So my mind was wired because you have impressions made on you. You get what I'm saying? Like chicks, they like what they like because of an impression that was made on them, right? So my impression, I think, was a lot different. It was very unique in compared to most guys. Most guys, it was a younger girl who was far less experienced than them, and they were kind of, you get what I'm saying? They were kind of using the advantage on the girl. A girl would have been like the naive one, and they might have said something to her, or I love you, or whatever they had to do, get showered with her, a lot of attention, spent all day with her, whatever it was them trying to manipulate down. Whereas for me, it was the opposite. It was an older chick that was like, you're cute, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to show you X, Y, and Z. And I remember the day. What happened was, it was actually a snow day. It was like a day we went to school, and it just snowed so fucking bad that they were like, you know what, y'all want folks can go home. So about 11:30, they let us go home. Here's the thing. My mom was at work, and I literally lived 2 blocks from my school, which actually becomes 0 blocks if you just hop over. Like if you just cut through the block, like through parking lots, you literally could get from my high school to my crib 3-4 minutes. So basically I brought her, you know, because she knew where I lived. So she was like, yo, you know, what are you going to do? I was like, I don't know. I'm probably just going to go home and chill. She was like, all right, I'm coming with you.
So you were like, what, flirt with her in class or something? Like, how did
No, we weren't in the same class, bro. You're not hearing me, bro. I was like a junior. I was
like around this hallway?
I wasn't even a junior, bro. I think I was a sophomore, I think. Yeah, I was a sophomore. And she was a senior. Like a super senior. Like she was
No, I got you.
Right.
But
So,
how did you guys connect? Like I
already knew her from school.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew her from school. She was always telling me like, you're cute, you're like your best dressed or whatever. And she lived on my street. She lived on my block, but just like a mile down. You know what I'm saying? But on the same street. So yeah, so man, I knew who she was or whatever. And she was experienced, put it that way. She had boyfriends or whatever. Like we knew, because I knew her boyfriends. Her boyfriends were like, her ex-boyfriends were like older guys that were popular in the neighborhood and shit like that. So a whole nother generation than me.
Okay.
Right? Because you gotta understand, she's dating guys that are like 24, 25. So the point I'm making is that it was a leap for me, because what usually would take guys several sexual encounters to learn, like she taught it to me all that first fucking time. It was crazy. And I realized that after I had been with a few girls, I realized, wow, there was nothing learned in like 12 girls that I didn't already know from the first girl.
Okay, she was an experienced gal. She knew a few things.
So she gave me a fast track, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, she gave me. Technically speaking, it's fucking rape. If you actually think about it from that perspective, objectively, it was fucking statutory. And she was 19, and I was 17. So it was actually statutory. But it benefited me greatly, bro. Like greatly, because she was very, very. I don't know how to say it. Like she basically explained. So she was telling me how to do this, telling me how to do that. So not only telling me what to do, but she was telling me how to do it. So it was like, bro, sex ed for real shit.
Okay.
I think I only fooled around with her like I know twice for sure, maybe 3 times. And the only reason why I know it's twice for sure is because it was once at my place and it was once at her place.
So you're only raped twice.
It was the best. The best assault of my life.
So let's fast forward. So from the point where you lost your virginity to the point where you're at now, how did like your game evolve since then?
I think my game evolved immensely because of the range of scenarios, like different scenarios. Like the range of scenarios is like, you know what I mean? So it's like, how many scenarios could a guy describe that I haven't been in? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, I'm messing with this married woman. Okay, I've done that. Oh, I'm dating this single mom and I'm thinking about this. I've done that. I'm engaged. I've done that. I'm married. I've done that. I have 2 women. I have 2 sister wives. I've done that. You see what I'm saying? So like all the different scenarios, it's like.
But how did you learn how to succeed in those various scenarios?
I looked at each one as an individual. Everyone was in a vacuum. Every single one of them. I never really put like women or experiences into any type of box. I just dealt with every chick as who that chick is. And I think that's what's lost today, believe it or not. I think today people are way too much trying to like group shit. And I feel like, why would you even want to do that? I feel like, think about it. To me, that's like watching a movie and desperately trying hard to like make it the same as a movie you've already seen. Why would I want to do that?
I think guys are clinging on to what's worked for them in the past, and they're hoping to apply past successes to current. I think you very much have like the mind of a natural. So let me ask you this question. So to kind of figure, you said you looked at each situation like individually. In order to figure out, okay, how do I succeed with this type of girl in this situation? Do you kind of just like figure it out on your own, or did you have to like go to?
First of all, I never looked at it as succeed, because I never in my mind thought that the goal was to sleep with this chick. I always thought that was the given. Like if this girl gives me my number, like she gives me her number, or I give her my number, she contacts me. Like, why would I not have the expectation that I'm going to sleep with her? So for me, it wasn't about success in the sense of sleeping with the girl. It was about what's this experience going to be. You get what I'm saying? Like, it sounds corny as fuck, but when I'm dealing with a chick, the last thing I'm thinking about is the destination. Like, I'm thinking about the journey. I'm thinking about, okay, it's an experience. I'm not looking at success. I'm looking at experience.
No, I think you very much have like the mindset of like a natural who has like good self-beliefs about his own ability and game. So what that means is like you're not focused, you're not sweating the outcome because you have faith in yourself that you're gonna be able to get there anyway. So it's irrelevant. Like if I know, for example, that I'm going to be able to eat tonight, I'm not worried about how I'm going to get my food. But someone who's living in a third world country, they're going to be sweating that because that's a concern for them. So it's the same thing here. You know you're going to get with a girl. You're not sweating it. You're just more focused on, you know, the flavor of the food, right? Versus someone who's not sure if they're going to get it, then they're kind of sweating the process.
That's like if me and you decide we're going to go to Orlando and we're over here debating whether or not we're going to fly there or just going to take a fucking 3-hour drive. If we decide to take that 3-hour drive, at no point in my mind am I going to doubt that we're going to make it to Orlando.
Right.
So I'm not too much focusing on making it to Orlando. The GPS is going to take us there. I'm more focused on how much fun we're going to have on this road trip.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I see exactly.
Let's make that the best.
So you have a
let's make this 3 hours the best 3 hours on the road. You get what I mean?
No, I totally get it. You have a very good mindset. And that's like, again, like usually the mindset of like a guy who's like naturally been good with women and stuff like that.
I don't think it's natural though, bro. I really don't think anything was natural. There was like a lot of, it wasn't always easy. It didn't always happen. The point is that I went in there looking for the experience. Even if that experience was rejection, that's what you get what I'm saying? Like I'm more interested in, okay, how did she reject me? What was that about? Why did I get rejected? What could I have done? What should I have done? What will I do? More than I'm focusing on, damn, I didn't hit that. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
no, I do.
Like there's plenty of girls. There's going to be sex, bro. It's in the forecast.
Natural might be the wrong word, I guess, or maybe it's the right word, but I'm explaining it badly. The word is what I'm trying to get at is that you didn't have to like. It doesn't mean that you didn't have to learn game. Didn't mean that you didn't have a struggle.
Oh, I had to learn it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It just means that you never really had to sweat it. Like you were never going on Google and typing it. Oh shit! Like you were never like trolling in the forums. You were never like you were never like reading books. Exactly.
I don't know. Always in the field, bro.
Exactly.
I'd rather be looking at the pretty girl on the train reading the book, and I'd just be like looking at the cover of the book and trying to figure out in my head what's going to be the icebreaker. Like when am I going to lean in and say something, and what's that something going to be? You know what I'm saying? And I'm more interested in, is this even going to work? How is she going to respond? I'm more interested in what I'm about to learn. You get what I'm saying? I'm more interested in that experience than I am in it being a good experience, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm not really so pressed, like, oh man, this is going to work. I'm going to get this girl's number. She's really going to stop reading this book and talk to me. Like, I'm not thinking about all of that. I'm thinking, what happens when you see a good looking woman and she's just like engulfed in this book? What happens if you interrupt her and be like, is the book really that good? You see what I'm saying? Well, can you just tell me a little bit about what it's about? Can I just read the back of it? How's she going to respond? Is she going to be like, yo, dude, I'm fucking trying to read this book? Or is she going to be like, oh, no, well, the author is, and do I actually want to read this book? By reading this book, will I nail more girls? Because a lot of girls are reading this book and I can like talk to them about it. And that would be discussion within itself. So I'm always paying attention to shit like that. What happens if I see another girl reading the same book? I don't know, something's going on. This book is popular right now. This book is trending. Now I can make conversation. Hey, you know what? I met another girl. She's reading the same book. What's going on with that? Is that like on Oprah's bestseller or something?
No, I think
it's a valid conversation.
Yeah, I think it's a good mindset. It's like a mindset of curiosity. Like you're curious about the world and how you can like kind of weave your way in there. I think
how much amazing treasures and experiences are like going to be out here. You know what I'm saying? Like the world's a big place. It's out here. So I think I've always looked at women as like fucking entertainment. Women should make everything more like everywhere. They should make everywhere more interesting. You get what I'm saying? Like, for example, right? Because I hate to like bring up criminal stuff because there's like people that actually like, oh, you said felon, you said criminal. It's like some people are felons, some people aren't. The point is, if everybody wasn't a felon, then nobody would be a felon. And if everybody was a felon, then one would be a non-felon. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, give me a fucking break. So what? So the point I'm making is like, I could even say to myself, okay, I'm at an age where I'm adventurous. I'm explorer. I'm exploring. And I want to go to this city. Maybe I want to go there for, bad intentions. Maybe I'm up to no good. You get what I'm saying? Maybe I'm just in that phase. or I like fast money. I want to make fast money. And I go to a town and I say, wow, I can make money here and this is cool and whatever. How much am I going to really learn about that town without women? You see what I'm saying? How many people am I going to meet? How many places I'm going to go? How much about this place am I going to figure out and learn in a short period of time without women? Is a guy going to dedicate himself to saying, okay, so this is my city. This is where this is where the best deal on that is. I'm going to hook you with it. A guy's not going to do that. But if I meet a cute girl and we have a good chemistry, I'm blowing her back out. She's loving it. She's like, yo, this guy's from New York. He's so funny. He's exciting. She's going to tell me every fucking thing I need to know about that town.
No, I definitely see your point. I've definitely toured some cities. Like I saw way more of a city because I was meeting chicks. Because that chick like shows you shit. And,
exactly.
And she shows you like the good local spots that you would not have figured out.
All her connections and hookups are your connections and hookups right now.
Right.
Because she's trying to impress you. She's trying to get your validation.
That's definitely like a nice little perk of knowing game. So kind of bringing back something different, where does bodybuilding fit in for you?
Shit. Well, I mean, you want to like you're asking me like, well, maybe interested in bodybuilding?
Why like at what point did you get into it, and how do you feel like it affects game?
Well, I don't think anything in life affects game anything more than anything else. I think everything is game. I think it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's game. You know what I mean? I don't care if you're a butcher, you chop meat for a fucking living. There's game in there. You understand what I'm saying? If you know how to finesse that, that's game. You know what I'm saying? If you're a chef,
like it when daddy chops the head off the chicken.
Well, here it is. That guy's skilled. He's skilled at making cuts. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he could hook up with a female that's a chef, give her a great deal. She helps him get more clients. Everything's game is what I'm trying to say. We're all interconnected, right? We're all humans. And what we do, you know, what we're professionals at, what we're good at, all these type of things, they all make up us. They make up our chemistry and how we interact with the opposite sex. I think guys just make it too, I don't know, man, they narrow it down too much. You get what I'm saying? I think they need to look at it a little bit more broadly.
Can you give like an example or
like if you're socially awkward, you're socially awkward. You're socially awkward with dudes as well as women. So it's like, is game only about learning how to talk to women? I think if you're good at talking to people, you're good at talking to women. Women are people. You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
I do see what you're saying. The only thing I would say is I know some exceptions. Like I know guys, like one of my really closest friends, he's really good in every social interaction unless it's with an attractive girl, in which case he's horrible.
Yeah, but that's an issue he has with himself.
Right.
And that you're proving my point. The problem is he looks at her as different than other people.
Right.
She's still a person. She's another person.
Right.
So that's what he's fucking up. That's in his head. Right?
No, yeah, he's putting her on a pedestal. But it's done on a subconscious basis, so he can't he knows that's the issue, but he can't directly fix it, right?
I mean, our subconscious is what's making most of our decisions, and that's my point. I think even as a kid, I never looked at girls as being like this different off-limits thing, that's this fearful, complicated, complex creature that I just can't figure out.
Which again, I think goes back to like you having good mindset.
Right, I never looked at it like that.
Right.
If I'm like in my country, I'm in Jamaica, I used to love to fucking chase and catch lizards.
Okay.
I don't look at a lizard any different than I look at a woman. If I see a snake and I'm like, fuck, I'm going to catch that snake. I'm going to try to catch that snake. You know what I'm saying? And this snake gets the way. It's like, now I'm determined to catch this fucking snake, to catch this type of snake. So I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. before the sun comes up. And I'm going to lift up rocks. And I'm going to catch this fucking snake while it's lethargic. It didn't get to warm up in the sun. Why do I know that? Because I read about some snakes. Why'd you read about some snakes? Because I want to catch this snake.
Right.
I didn't look at women any different.
But there's no sexual intercourse with a snake. That's just with a woman.
But that's my point. But my point is, I never looked at it differently. That's my point. Just because you have sex with women doesn't mean you look at them different than anything else.
No, right. And I think that's a really good mindset. Like I think that's a really good mindset to have, which is what I think made your everything else for you easier when it came with game. Versus if you didn't have that mindset, everything else would have been harder.
Right. That, and I mean, like, for example, with anything else, discipline is going to work, right? With anything else, delayed gratification is going to work, right?
Yeah,
all right.
For sure.
So, like, if you see a chick, right? Let's say you see a chick at school, or you see a chick in your neighborhood, or you see somewhere where it's going to be reoccurring, right? And when you're younger, this is going to be more the norm, I think. I don't know about the teenagers nowadays, but when I was a teenager, you more were focused on the girl that you know of. Like, you know of this girl. Like, it's not just some girl passing by. It's like a particular girl, and you kind of have the one-itis. Not because you necessarily have a scarcity mindset, but when you're younger, you tend to kind of focus on one girl at a time, one crush at a time, right? Well, as you get older, right, you might get more experience, more cocky, more confident, and you just might be just interested in women in general on face value now. So now it's not that serious. Not like, oh, there's this girl that works over at the, you're not really like that too much. If you're getting experience, if you're getting experience, you're getting laid, that's going to start to dissipate. And you're kind of not really going to look at it as a big deal. Like I went to the mall, I saw this chick, I spoke to her. Like you only need to see her once, right? But sometimes you might need to play the long game. Now, how do you get good at identifying which girls are girls that you go in right away and which girls are girls that you just kind of plant a seed and you water it a little bit and you come back and you pick a little bit of weed?
How do you identify that?
Well, I can just tell by a girl's body language or mannerisms, how she reacts to me. There's certain girls where you're not going to win them over the first time.
Right.
There's certain girls that they might have a boyfriend or something. You might have to wait. You know what I'm saying? You're going to sleep with other girls in the meantime, but I'm just saying, for you to actually sleep with this particular girl, it might take some patience.
Is there anything specific that like you could, like if let's say you're giving advice to your son or your younger brother, whatever, you'd be like, look for these signs. If you're going to play the long game, look for these signs. You're going to, just try to go for it right away. What would you say those are?
I mean, nowadays everything seems a hell of a lot more short term. So I think the girls that are going to require the long game, I think they stick out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? I think now it's easier to recognize it more than ever. Which are the ones that you need to go full speed ahead and the ones where you kind of need to, you know what I mean? Chill. Let me chill. And I'm not talking about like friend zone shit, because you put yourself in the friend zone, first of all. So I'm not talking about like actually giving a girl consistent attention or anything crazy like that. I'm just talking about you need to peep her from a distance. You might need to say something, let her know that you're there, you're confident, you see her, she's attractive, but come off very, very gentle with it because you want to be able to come back at any time, right? If you push too much, then it might be like, yo, who's this guy think he is? Like, why does he think he can just come on to me? Like, I'm not even like that. And then next thing you know, the wall is there and you're just like every other asshole and you don't get what you're trying to get. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a matter of paying attention to her body language, the way she carries herself, not only with you, but just with other guys in general. You could tell, bro. A lot of times you could tell by the way the girls walk and the way the girls act. So some girls, you can't pick up too many signs of attention craving. Right? So it's like, okay, if she's not an attention whore, she's not craving attention, she's not checking if she's getting attention, she's not even really seem to be conscious of it. Okay. Now we have to figure out what's the mechanism there. So because I think she wants attention. She's a female. She definitely wants attention. So that means she wants it to come from a specific person in a specific way. So now you know this might be a girl that I got to maybe do a little bit more research. I might have to really strategize with this because it's a different game being played here.
So I think it would be pretty easy for like if you and I were to go out, like it would be easy for us to tell that. I do think like one thing I've learned from just coaching a lot of clients is that some guys are just so bad on picking up on these cues. Like for example, funny story I heard was one of my friends, John Anthony. He had a client, and this guy he would go on a date. He'd bring the girl home. As soon as they walked in, he would take off all his clothes, lay on the bed, and put on a condom. Right, and in his mind, he was confused why the girls were leaving after that. And to him, it didn't logically make sense that the girls would not be into that. So some guys like are just so like in their head and so analytical that they can't pick up on things that might be obvious to me and you.
Well, where did he see that work for a person?
I have no idea where he got that.
No, because that probably has work. He probably saw that work for another guy.
I think maybe
but he was missing some pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah,
there was some context that was missing from it to why that would have worked for that guy. There might have been some jokes made. There might have been some sexual banter. You get what I'm saying? There might have been some type of flirt. Like certain guys, their flirt game is to the point where the girl, as soon as they get somewhere where they could be alone, something's going to happen.
Right.
Because she's already classified him as fun.
Right.
He's this guy's fun. This guy's adventurous. He's funny. He makes me feel comfortable about that topic. But how do you do that? I've seen guys like struggle with that. It's cringe. It's like they're trying to be funny about sexual stuff, but everything's off. The timing's off. The delivery is off. It's just like, nah, bro, you don't say that. You don't say that like that. Like, that's not how you segue from this to this. And it's like, fuck. See what you're trying to do, but you're not equipped to do it.
Yeah. I used to be one of those guys for a long time.
So then the question is, how did you get over that? How did you figure it out?
It was a lot of trial and error, and it was a lot of fucking up and then learning from my mistakes. It was like so my upbringing was pretty different than yours in the sense that I didn't have a good mindset around women when I was younger. I used to, like you said, you kind of looked at women and guys and animals. You used to kind of put them all like they're no different. I used to think women were totally different, right? In my mind, I used to think that you had to do some crazy shit to get an attractive girl. I used to think that you couldn't just talk to a girl like a normal person. That would never work. Why would she like that? You have to like treat her like this. Like, so I had a lot of bad mindsets around girl. And the question, if like the question is like, how did I get over that? It just took a lot of trial and error, and a lot of also like there was like little mini epiphanies. Like one that I can remember was, I remember when I first moved to LA, I used to go to UCLA a lot and just chat up girls on campus. And I used to like write down little openers that worked for me, right? So I had a little notepad, and one thing that I found weird is one opener would work really well for me one day, but then it wouldn't work the next day. And this would just bug me. And then one day I figured it out. It wasn't the opener. It was the fact that that day when I said the opener, it felt natural to me because it's what came to my mind. And then I realized instead of having canned openers, better just go with whatever comes to my mind. And that was like a little epiphany I had. So I guess my success has just been a series of little epiphanies along the way that made me realize. But I think one of the things is you have to like kind of experience it for yourself. You can't just read about it online because then it doesn't really stick.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing with comedy, right? You can't make jokes without knowledge. You see what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to make an economic joke work? You have to have an understanding of economics.
Wow.
That has to come first. Then you have to have the talent and the skill for the humor. But the humor plays off of the knowledge. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you can't make a joke about college campuses if you don't know about college campuses. If you've never been to a college campus, you don't have experience on college campuses, what would be the twerking mechanism of the joke? Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I see your point.
So what happens is both parties have to be familiar with the material in order for the joke to land, right? So if you're an astronaut, you can make a joke about outer space as far as being in the actual spaceship and what's required of NASA or whatever to another astronaut. So you'd be like, yeah, man, you know how they are about the fucking suits. You see what I'm saying? that other astronaut can laugh now because he also went through the training. He also knows how they act about the suits. You know what I'm saying? But to someone that you get on the outside, they're going to be like, I don't get it. How are they about the suits? Right? So what happens is guys try to be funny with girls about like sexual shit, but you don't have experience with that. You haven't been in that situation, in that position. So when you're making the joke now, it's not organic. She does have experience with it. Right? So the thing is, has she been with more guys than you? Or have you been with more females than she has been with guys?
Hopefully she's been with more guys than you.
Right. So when you're dealing with chicks, you want to have the upper hand of the more experience.
Yeah,
being more experienced, right? So I want to put you on to a joke. I want to put you on to this or that. And then when you're talking with them, you can't act like I know how it is and I understand if you don't actually know how it is.
Yeah.
So now the girl can act like, oh, I don't do that, or girls don't do this, or I'm not like, well, this isn't like that, or oh no, that's like. She can play that game all day long with you because prove her wrong. How would you know? Have you slept with her on the first night? So how do you know that she does one night stands? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a separate point, but it's a good point that if you're coming from the frame of that you have the experience, it's a lot better to be experienced in whatever category. Like, for example, BDSM, right? If she's a chick who's kind of into BDSM, it's advantageous to be more knowledgeable BDSM because then you can be the teacher rather than pretending like you know, but then like when she says something, you can't back it up. So you never want to be the guy that's like all talk.
Yeah, but if you have a certain type of confidence and you have a certain type of attraction level, sex appeal, and so on and so forth, she could be far more experienced with that than you, and now she's interested in showing you something. Like, oh, I would love to show you this.
Okay,
it's like, oh, so you're into that BDSM shit? It's like, yeah, you like it now. I'm not into that freaky shit. No, you should really try. Convince me.
Yeah, okay.
You see the confidence level.
Yeah.
So you're saying, hey, listen, I don't know nothing about that, but you're not coming off as this inexperienced puppy. You're coming off like, listen, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? I do it the old-fashioned way. It's like, no, you should really try this. It's like, prove it. Convince me. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, convince me. Change my mind. Now you still have the upper hand.
Right.
You're still the more experienced one, right? In the realm of dominating the woman. You understand what I'm saying? So now she's trying to convince you to show you something, to expose you to something new. So it's all in how you're carrying yourself to begin with. It's all a reflection of yourself. So like earlier today, I was in like the store and like I was getting something, and I was with this chick, and I don't really know this chick. You know what I'm saying? I just was interviewing her, and I'm like trying to get something first before, and then she like picked up some books, and like some snacks or whatever. And she like comes to the register while I'm paying for my stuff. And she said something like, I want to get this too, or something like this. Bro, I didn't even want to hear what she said. Because it sounded like she was saying she wanted me to buy her book. That's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? But rather than actually go into conversation with her, I just put my debit card in there and pressed the buttons and acted like I didn't even hear her. And then after the card went through, I was like, what's that? All right.
Did she actually want you to buy her book?
I don't know. Because the lady,
that's such like a
because the
such
lady in the store,
ambitious thing to say to a stranger.
Right, because the lady in the store said something, and then I kind of like I overplayed it as if it was taking my attention away. But I was fully focused the entire time on what was going on over
No,
here.
I get that.
I was just acting like I wasn't paying attention because I'm like, this is a shit test.
I do that sometimes when my roommate talks to me. Yeah, like when something I don't want to hear, I just like pretend I didn't hear it. What's that? Oh yeah, starting work.
The point is, this chick might be trying something, right? Maybe she is, maybe she isn't, right? But this girl already told me that like she doesn't pay for weed. Like she can pay for weed because she asked me about a friend. I was like, I could ask him or whatever. And she's like, oh, you know, I want to get this amount or whatever. And then I'm asking her, because I told her, I said, listen, he's going to bring this. So I don't know like how much money you want to give him, whatever. She's like, oh, like $50. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I didn't tell him the amount. And she's like, oh, any amount doesn't matter. And she's like, it could be less. Either way, it doesn't matter because I have guys that will come. And I cut her off. I said, yeah, you're a pretty girl. You should have plenty of friends that give you free weed. Like all the cute girls.
That's like a fucking pet peeve of mine is girls who like just want to skate by in their looks.
Right. Like all
they want to contribute shit.
All the cute girls that I know have a guy, you know what I mean? Like that gives them free weed, right? So, but see, here's the thing. By me saying that to her, it's kind of like I'm saying, like, measure up. Like, I thought you were cute. Like, you're cute. You shouldn't be paying for it. So even if she doesn't necessarily have that luxury to that extent, now she's going to act like she does. Right? And of course, she started saying other things now, like, yeah, like, because then when she got there, she was like, well, if he doesn't have Venmo, like if he only has Cash App, she's like, I have a person that I could call and they'll Cash App it too. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you have plenty of sponsors. There's a reason why I keep going down that lining of conversation, because I'm giving her an opportunity to tell her herself. And also what I'm telling her is that, listen, I understand what's going on. I understand women have guys that do this and guys that do that. And I fully accept it. No judgment. In fact, I think it's natural. I think it's normal. It's expected. Why wouldn't you have like simps out here willing to do all these things? Now, the moment that she looks at me to pay a bill or something or to pay for something, I'm looking at her like, what? Call one of those guys.
Wow.
So I use that to create a force field over myself. I use that to differentiate, because you see those guys, you're not interested in those guys. You don't respect those guys. Guess what? I'm not one of those guys. So feel free to respect me. Oh, and by the way, you can be attracted. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I'm drawing a clear line in the sand, right? But I'm doing it very subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
And this is how guys need to frame themselves. That's part of framing, is that you accept what other guys are out here doing. You accept what majority guys are out here doing. Yeah, that's expected. But those are those guys, though. It's not this guy.
I think that's one of the things that differentiates you from Fresh and Fit, in the sense that they know about it, but they don't really accept it. They try to fight it. Does that make sense? Like they know that, yeah, there's all these guys, there's something for these chicks. They're not ignorant of that, but they're judging it. They're not judging. It's not like they have like I don't give a shit.
Well, they don't know what the special sauce is. So you're like, you know how you go to restaurants, like, yo, these burgers are fucking great. And I understand that. I mean, it's a burger, and then there's like cheese on it and tomato and lettuce. But damn, like, there's just something different about this burger. Yeah, it's got that special sauce. Yeah, what is that? I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask the chef. You don't know what that special sauce is. So what's the difference between the guys that have to adhere to these terms and the guys that are just missed by it? Like, yeah, I'm sure it exists, but it doesn't affect me. It's like, what about the black guy that isn't affected by white supremacy? Oh, every black guy is affected by white supremacy. Says who? Are you sure? Because there's guys that act oblivious to it. Yeah, they know it's there, but they don't succumb to it.
Right.
That's not a dead end for me. That's like a hurdle for me. I'm just going to go like this.
Right.
I can do all the other hurdles. Then I'm going to run to the next one. I'm going to go like this. It's a big deal. But if you're a guy, right, that's running the 100-meter dash, when those hurdles come, you run into them. You trip over them. You stop. Because you don't do the hurdles.
I mean, I think
you understand what I'm saying? That's two different athletes.
Yeah.
So are you a guy that stops at these barriers and is like trying to figure out, well, how do I What do I need to do with this? But the other guy, that didn't slow him down at all.
Yeah, I think that goes back.
The hurdles.
I think a lot of that goes back to self-image and mindset, like the mindset that you have, whether you're a victim or you're going to be a person who's going to just make the best of the situation and overcome it. But a lot of dudes do want to be victims, like because it's easier.
Well, it's easier.
Yeah,
that's easier. That's my point. It's easier.
No, it's easier.
So I mean, like I was talking to a chick today, and like she was telling me how like her boyfriend doesn't want her to visit Miami, or her boyfriend doesn't want to post certain pictures on Instagram, all that stuff, and like they argue about it and they fight about it, all this kind of stuff. And I was like,
it's like never an issue me and my girl ever had. Like I could care less what she does on Instagram.
Like you're wasting so much fucking time and so much fucking energy. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, because like I believe this feminist mindset that it's like I have to like post these pictures, I have to do whatever I want with my sexuality and my body because I'm owning it and whatever. I said, yo, all that's bullshit. All that shit's a racket. Okay? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you're trying to do one thing, but you're getting all this fucking friction and you're getting all this pushback. You're jeopardizing your relationship. Your boyfriend is breaking up with you over it every minute. Then you get back together and you got all this kind of goofy shit going on, right? And what you have to understand is that bold, you know what I'm saying, independent, you don't tell me what to do mindset, it takes more energy and it gets less results. It's not effective. But at the same time as it taking more energy, it's also lazy. It's lazy because it's not strategic, right? It's not calculated, right? So they're telling you that you don't have any power in your femininity. You don't have any power in submission. You doing what a man tells you to do makes you weak. And the power is you're not being told what to do and you being strong, you being independent, you not compromising and doing whatever you want and putting no. The power is in you just being feminine, you just being a female. And she's like, yeah, but she's like, I don't understand. I was like, listen, let me explain something to you. You know how I know your boyfriend will tolerate you posting those pictures on Instagram and he'll tolerate you going to Miami for weeks at a time? She's like, how? I'm like, because he still fucking deals with you. He still deals with you. He's still your boyfriend right now, currently. He's broken up with you before, but he's gotten back with you. You still have your Instagram up. You still got bikini pictures. You still got all this sexual shit up there. And you're still going to Miami without him for weeks at a time and then going to LA. So he tolerates it. So the issue is not the fact that you're doing these things. The issue is that you're doing these things. He's telling you you don't like them and you're continuing to do it. The solution is you do the Jedi mind trick. You give him the false sense of control. And the way you do this is simple. I said, when did you decide you were coming to Miami? She's like, oh, I decided. And then I booked my ticket. And then I went and told him. I said, that's where you fucked up right there. That's where you fucked up right there. So I said, tell me about your boob job. She's like, yeah, it just came to me. It was like all of a sudden, I just instantly was like, yo, I want to get my tits done. I want to get my boob job. And then I went and I looked at my bank account after I talked to the surgeon and I had enough. And then I booked the appointment. And then I talked to my boyfriend again. That's where you fucked up. You see what I'm saying? So she's like, yeah. She's like, we argued about the Instagram and and my Instagram is down now because it got hacked or something like that. She downloaded some app or whatever and got some virus or something, whatever. And now it's disabled, right? So now you're going without Instagram. Okay. I said, all right, let me tell you how you should have played all three of those situations differently and took control, right? Took control, but took control like subversion wise. Like you're in control, but he thinks he's in control. And this is how you would have done it. You go to him and say, hey, baby, I got to go to Miami soon. So I wanted to talk to you about timing and what are you thinking, whatever. But you're already pushing for the dates that you already decided that you wanted to come. But you give him the illusion that he has some involvement and some say-so.
Okay.
And when you go to Miami. So now he agrees to the dates that you booked the tickets. Okay. You go to your boyfriend and you show him the picture of the girl that you showed the surgeon. You say, baby, what do you think about this girl? What are you asking me about this girl for? Oh, what do you think about? You think she's hot? Yeah, she's all right. What are you asking me about this girl for? What about her tits? How you feel about her tits? Baby, why are you asking me about this girl's tits? I mean, I don't get her. Did you like her fucking tits or not? I like her tits. I just wanted to know, do you like her tits? Yeah, I like her tits or whatever. Oh, because I really like them. I want them. What are you saying? No, I really want them. And there's a good surgeon. And I just want to see what you think about it. I really, really want it, baby.
Yeah, I see.
Now you're getting tits, and he thinks it's his idea. He thinks.
I see your point.
You see what I'm saying? He thinks he signed off on it. With the Instagram, what you should have did was deactivated it. Shut your Instagram off. Deactivate it. Then go to your boyfriend and say, "Baby, I thought about it. I know this upsets you. And I have a completely different opinion on it. I have different reasons for why I want it, but I understand where you're coming from as a man. It makes you uncomfortable. You don't want other guys seeing me like that. It makes you feel insecure. So you know what? I love you, and I don't want you to think you can't trust me. So I just cut that shit off because I don't want any problems with you. It's not worth it to me. Then you let some time go by. And then you make comments like, oh, fuck, this girl couldn't send me the thing because she doesn't have my phone number and she couldn't find my Instagram. So I got this information all day and I missed the photo shoot because of it. But make a few more comments like that. Eventually, she's going to be like, yo, babe, it's kind of silly that you don't have your Instagram because, you know.
This is good game for women. This is
right.
This is good. Good real woman.
No. Hold on, time out. Because there's going to be some stupid ass in the comments. It's going to be like, oh, that's simping. You're giving women game to manipulate men. Slow down. Slow your fucking roll. Okay. Let's say hypothetically a woman does that. Now the guy actually does have some say-so and some control. Now she's coming to him and asking permission for every motherfucking thing that she does, which is going to make him feel a hell of a lot more comfortable and a hell of a lot more secure. There are going to be times when he is going to be able to say no. No is no. But now there's a subliminal kind of compromise that's coming up, and neither side has to lose face in this compromise. This compromise happens naturally now, right? Yeah. Now he's waking up in the morning with his dick in her mouth. Right? She's doing all these things now.
He's got a nice big pair of titties.
Because what happened is she's being comfortable being submissive. She's being comfortable asking first and asking permission. You guys really think that women genuinely ask their men permission before they do things? You think women are genuinely submissive, like in their mind? They're like, oh, let me do everything he tells me to do. Let me not think for myself. Let me not question anything. No, it's going to be an act no matter what. I don't care if you're a guy in the 1950s and your woman is, you know what I'm saying, cooperative and submissive. That's when the cameras are rolling. That's when you're home. When you go to work and she's with the neighbor and all this kind of stuff, I'm talking about way back in the 50s. Do you really think that's the conversation that those two women had alone? That's the facade she put on when her husband was around, when they were in public, because she understood, I have to play the role. I have to submit to him. I have to give him that appearance, give him that authority, give him that benefit of the doubt, right? I have to create those that ambiance.
Well, you need like the you know, the darkness to see the light, and like you need the contrast. So you need a girl can only be submissive with a dominant guy, right? Versus, you know, two submissive chicks. Like it's like who's more submissive. But I want to kind of just bring this back a little bit because I think this is a good point, like what you made, and I think this is some good tips for chicks. But let's bring this back to bodybuilding because that's where we started.
Oh, right, that's where we're going. All right, so listen. So what I'll say about the bodybuilding is I never connected the two. So as far as when I fell in love with bodybuilding, I was small. And what happened was I had a favorite uncle, and we used to play Super Mario Brothers. He used to take me to see Star Wars, all that type of shit. Like all the type of guy, I don't know if you want to call it pop culture, but all the X-Men comics, like he's who exposed me to Marvel comics. He exposed me to like a ton of video games. Just like, I don't know if you call it geek culture now. I don't know what you would call it. He's far from a fucking geek. He was a military man. But yeah, he introduced me to like push-ups and sit-ups and all that type of shit. And I was a huge fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I loved the Conan the Barbarian. It was like one of my favorite fucking movies. I was big on Rambo. So, I mean, all that kind of stuff growing up in the 80s and the 90s. And I remember we were having like a slight argument. So I was talking about like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, Conan or whatever. And he was like, yeah, man, but he was like, man, you got to see the black guys like that. Because I was so impressed with Arnold's physique and his body. And I only see white boys at that time like that. And my uncle was like, hey, you know, there's black guys that look like that, right? I'm like, where? Because there wasn't really any movies about it. I mean, you had Action Jackson. And you had a couple of black guys that were kind of buff that were like on TV. They might have been like in wrestling or something, but you didn't see a lot of it. So he started exposing me to like bodybuilding magazines. And the first guy that he showed me that really had an impact on me was Robbie Robinson. His nickname was a Black Panther. So, you know, you guys can look at Robbie Robinson. He's classic bodybuilders. He dominated like in the 80s, and he would come in like second and third and stuff like that to like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Frank Zane era, right? So when I saw this guy, it blew my mind to see a black guy that was built like that. And then I knew the toys and the action figures that I played with, a man can look like that.
Right.
Like that's not just a superhero body. That's not just fantasy. You can actually look like that.
How old were you?
I was probably like 7, 8, 9.
Oh, damn, dude, you were young. I didn't get into bodybuilding until I was like 23, 24.
Right. So, I mean, that just let me know that it could happen, that it was possible. And I never thought about it again. Like I never thought about it again. Like I never thought about actually being a bodybuilder or anything like that. I just knew that it's something that could be accomplished. And I remember getting to that age, man, when I was like 16, I was like 15, 16, and me and my best friend were just tired of being like skinny, you know, we were tired of just being fucking bones.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was.
Yeah.
Around 25.
Yeah, you just, you know, you're just tired of being able to blow in the
start
wind.
a lot early. Indian, can you check on the camera, make sure we got battery on the actual camera? I just want
connected, right?
No, I know, but I just want to make sure that ours is just make sure, just check a look at the battery while we're going. Anyway, it's connected.
It just says connected. So
Okay. All right. Cool. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you in there like swimwear? Oh yeah, everything's cool.
Good. Okay. So you started training young.
No, I didn't. So that's what I'm saying. I didn't think about it, nothing. But so when I was in high school, like 9th grade, going into 10th grade, bro, we were just super frustrated with being skinny.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we tried everything, bro. Weight gainer from GNC. We tried eating potatoes all day long. Just made us shit a lot. So I kind of gave up on getting big, man, from like 16 to I would say about 24.
Mm-hmm.
I just completely gave up on getting big. And I was living up north. I was living in a climate where we had winter, fall, we had everything. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. You know, New York is more about your clothes, more about your fashion, more about your swag.
That's true.
So, yeah, man, getting the girls wasn't really a problem. And then you also have to understand it wasn't really a competitive. Tri-State's not really competitive, like physique-wise. Maybe now, because we have Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But in the late 90s, early 2000s, bro, nobody cared about that. It was more about the designer clothes that you wore and shit like that, and the swag that you had. Now, then I moved to Florida. So 2006, I moved to Florida because what happened was I was coming to Miami on spring breaks. This is when South Beach was the shit on spring break. Nothing like what you can compare it to in the past 10, 15 years. I mean, South Beach, Miami, bro, from like 2000 to 2006 was like a whole nother world, bro. Fucking amazing. Streets were always flooded. There was always extremely beautiful people everywhere, always exotic cars, and there were no fucking bums. Like no bum ass motherfuckers. Like now you go to South Beach and it's like it could be ratchet, it could be ghetto. It's like anybody could afford to go. Back then, it's like I don't give a fuck if you was from the hood. You had to save money. You had to save your money for months to be able to afford to go to South Beach for days. You get what I'm saying? This is before you would have like 5 or 6 girls sharing one hotel room and all that other cheap bullshit. It wasn't like that, bro. Guys didn't go there and didn't spend money. You know, you went, you spent money. So it was just a completely different atmosphere is what I'm saying. Nowhere near like affordable it is now. So everything was a lot more elite. Everything was a lot more high class.
Oh, I got you.
So people were going there less, but spending more, right? So I remember I went like 2 spring breaks back to back. Had an amazing time. At the time, my boys was getting a lot of money. They was getting a lot of money. I was making money. So it was nothing to spend the money. Like we would rent trucks, we'd rent hotels, we'd spend money, we'd take the girls out, we'd buy drinks. It was a fucking blast, right? The New York swag couldn't be beat. There was girls there from all over. So it was always an amazing time. I mean, like an amazing time, like memories upon memories, like pull out the camcorder. So I remember the 3rd spring break coming up. I couldn't afford to go. I was devastated. I was heartbroken. And I remember it occurred to me. It just came to me. It was all so simple. I was like, yo, I got so many friends out of state. And when I asked them if they come to New York for the summer, every once in a while, they'd be like, bro, I can't come. I can't afford it. And New York in the summer is the best time to go to New York. It's when we have all the events, we have all the parades. I mean, like all the things that are going to be awesome happen like in the summertime in New York. And they're all annual type shit, right? So I would think to myself, man, I don't got to worry about that because I live in New York. So I'm always going to be here for the summer. You know what I mean? And it dawned on me, well, fuck. If I lived in Miami, I wouldn't have to afford to come to spring break. I live in Miami. I'm already going to be here in the spring. So I set my mind on that. So when I moved to Florida, it was like a whole new fucking world, like a whole new world. No longer did I have to like travel and do all this stuff to kind of like have that experience, like have those classic moments and experiences with girls. I could do it in South Florida. There was Broward, there was Fort Lauderdale, There was Miami if he was willing to drive all the way down. There was Aventura. There was all these parts of Miami, and they had all these beautiful girls, and you could close the deal. You know what I mean? You could close the deal. So I just got like obsessed for that period of time with like just hooking up with super hot chicks. You get what I'm saying? Because it was just like there was such an abundance, and every weekend, like back then, what was really crazy was Hard Rock Casino, like all the clubs that are there, and then downtown Fort Lauderdale. You know what I'm saying? Crazy every weekend. Tons of fucking college.
Hey, Andy, we gotta bring this back to bodybuilding, man.
Oh, that's where we're going?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so what happened was that's when I started realizing like here it's a lot more about
your physique.
your body, your physique. So like going to the beach, you gotta take your shirt off and shit.
Right.
Going to the pool parties, and the gym. A lot of the attractive girls here, they frequent the gym. So that's the answer to your question. That's like when I was forced to like, and it wasn't about bodybuilding. It was just about getting in shape. So I could be more, you know what I'm saying? I guess the word you guys use is successful. But I wanted the girls to be just as attracted to my body as they was like my swag, you know what I'm saying? Or the way that I dressed, you know, or the fact that I was from somewhere else. So I just felt like that was where the guys in South Florida kind of raise the bar, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you adapt to your environment. Let me ask you this question. So if like I had a magic button, I press this button and you just become super skinny like you were back in the day, how much do you think that would affect your results with women? Like how much do you think your bodybuilding has helped you with girls?
I think I would just have a completely different approach, bro.
What do you think would be different?
I just would have a different approach, man, to be honest with you. Like
what's the difference between jack guy game and skinny guy game?
I think it would be just less. It would just be less on physical prowess.
Do you feel like being jacked allows you to almost like get away with more shit and allows you to like escalate faster in a way?
Not more than being good in any other area. Because okay, for example, you have to understand, bro. It's like women are attracted to like many different aspects of a man, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, let's say there's several buttons on a remote and you can press different sequences, different patterns to get the same command.
Mm-hmm.
Is any sequence more valuable than the other if they get to the same result? You get what I'm saying? So let's say you're given the 4 button, you're given the 9 button, and you're given a letter. And if you press those 3 buttons in the right order, you get the box. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I see your point.
But if you don't press those 3 buttons in the right order, you don't get the box. But you still have those 3 buttons to work with.
Right.
Somebody else has another 3 buttons.
Yeah, you just chose bodybuilding as one of those buttons.
That's what I'm saying. So if I didn't have that, I would just learn what the 3 key pattern is with the 3 buttons that I do have.
Do you feel like being like having muscle and being jacked just gives you more confidence in general? Because that's really.
No, it doesn't necessarily. Because here's the thing: like if you're making really good fucking money at your fucking law firm or some shit, that's gonna give you a certain level of confidence. And you could go hang out with a jack dude, and your confidence level is exactly the same. And your results can be exactly the same too. It's like, yo, I met 3 fucking hot chicks tonight, and I think they're all down to hook up. I met 3 hot chicks tonight, I think they're all down to fuck. Well, I'm a fucking hit, I'm a big shot lawyer down at this firm. Okay, well, I'm a successful bodybuilder. I just won my last 3 shows. Neither one of them has more confidence than the other. And what they're putting out is getting equal results. But again, they each have a different 3 buttons to work with.
I get that. I feel like,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like they'll like, just guys will respect you more if you're like have more muscle. Like guys are gonna be way less likely to fuck with you.
I know a lot of bodybuilders that are insecure as shit.
Yeah, I can see that.
They have low self-esteem. Just like I know a lot of guys make it $250K a year. They have low self-esteem. They don't believe in themselves. They're not confident. A girl would never even know. So what good is them making $250K a year when it's not getting them any better results with females? And if a female does find out he makes that type of money, she's not attracted to him. She's just like, well, how could I get that? How could I get to that resources? How can I get that money? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Just like there could be a bodybuilder, he has low self-esteem and all this other shit, but the girl's like, well, fuck, I can get him to train me for free. Like, how can I benefit from the fact that he's good at bodybuilding?
I see your point, but I guess like the point I'm trying to make is that, like, for example, let's say we're at a bar, right? We don't know each other at all, and I see you with like the hottest girl ever, like she's my perfect 10, right? I'm not gonna go and try to steal your girl because I know you could like beat the shit out of me. Versus if it's
That's
like,
cool. A lot of bodybuilders can't fight.
I know, but it's like a primal thing. Like it's almost like it's like a.
Is it an advantage to be bigger? Hell yeah.
It's not like a logical thing. I know what you mean. That like if you know fighting, you know jiu-jitsu, you probably have an advantage over the bodybuilder.
Do you?
Yeah, but it's like on a subconscious level. Like when you see like a skinny nerdy guy, you're more likely to just kind of like. And again, like if you're a good person, you shouldn't be doing that in the first place. But like there's a lot of shitheads out there, and the shitheads will be less likely to fuck with that jack guy than they are to fuck with that like skinny nerd guy. You know what I mean?
I think nowadays ain't nobody fucking with nobody though. To be honest with you, bro, I think the threat of violence is low in public these days. It's not like it used to be. You know, first of all, everybody knows there's cameras everywhere nowadays, and they also know everybody's a fucking bitch nowadays. I don't know. I grew up in the 90s, a little bit different. In the 90s, you see people getting punched in the face all the time in public.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Fighting was more common when I was
hell yeah. It was a very,
it was like
very
every day after school there would be like a fight. That was like if there was no fight, they would be like that's like a weird day.
Bro, I tell people that all the time. When I was in school, when I was in high school, when I was in middle school and high school, every fucking day after school there was at least one fight.
Yeah, at least one fight.
Sometimes there'd be two fights at the same time, and you got to decide which one you're gonna go watch.
Oh shit!
You know what I mean?
Johnny fighting. Yeah.
Bro, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And it taking place after school is why a lot of times the kids weren't even like punished by the school or anything. It just happened. Somebody won, somebody lost, and the next day it was the gossip for the day. And then after that, everybody stopped talking about it and we're on to the next thing. So it was just part of life, is what I'm saying. So those consequences were kind of built in. Just like when I was growing up, people would take things from each other all the time, bro. If you couldn't fight, you couldn't defend yourself. You couldn't wear certain sneakers. You couldn't wear gold chains. You couldn't just come out and have nice things. People would take them from you. And also, if you look like a punk and you were with a cute girl, a guy would literally come up and be talking to your girl right in front of you.
Right. But I think it's less likely to happen if you're jacked.
I have never even heard or seen that happen anytime recently, though, is what I'm trying to say. In recent years, I haven't heard or seen that happen to anybody. Skinny, big, tall, short. Like, guys don't do shit like that to each other anymore. They don't challenge each other like that openly.
They just do it behind a keyboard on social media.
Basically, they just DM your girl behind your back type shit.
Yeah.
So things are different. Just like they talk shit through the fucking keyboard. They would never say that to your fucking face.
Yeah, that's true.
Things are really different nowadays. And I think that within itself is an advantage, depending on how you want to play it. Like, I know you're not the person to bring up relations in the black community, but some of your subs might be black.
So a good amount are.
Right. So I tell black girls all the time, you're over here whining and complaining and, oh, black guys are dating white girls. And all this kind of, I'm like, first of all, it's an option thing. It's not a race thing. You're thinking it's a race thing. It's an option thing. Who has the best attitude? Who's the most compliant? Who's going to be the most, comfortable to be around? Who more likely am I going to get what I want out of? It's real fucking simple.
Yeah.
So if the stigma is with black girls nowadays, if you're an attractive black woman, you actually have a huge advantage. It's all about how you look at it. If you're looking at it as, all the good-looking, successful black guys that have options, they're choosing non-black girls. Okay, why don't you figure out why that is and just be the black girl that doesn't act like that? Right. Be the black girl that has a good attitude, that's pleasant, and all this other kind of stuff. You just made yourself go from least valuable to most valuable in your niche market. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, I see your point. But to kind of bring it back to bodybuilding, let me ask you this question. How long did it take you to go from, like, you mentioned you were skinny to being, like, as jacked as you are now? Like, how long was that process?
Man, like I said, I started lifting seriously on a mission at 24.
You're how old now?
Shit, I'm 38 now. So yeah, so I mean, yeah, but I've been jacked for years now. So I think by the age of 30, it was serious. Like
6 years of training, roughly.
Yeah, good 6. Good 6, 7. I think by 6, 7 years in, I had a drastic difference from like just the average guy, that goes to the gym. So I think that's when you get mistaken for a pro athlete. That's at the time when people are like, you play football? You box? You're trying to figure. And it's weird because bodybuilding, they like never guess, and it's just like bodybuilding. But I didn't start bodybuilding competitively until 2015, and that just followed a combination of two things. I lost my grandfather and divorced my wife in the same year, and those were both people that kept on asking me, "Why the hell do you go to the gym all the damn time, and you have no interest in bodybuilding?" Like, you have no interest in bodybuilding competitively, but you're at the gym about as often as the bodybuilders. And I knew a lot of bodybuilders, and I thought it was the stupidest shit in the world. I was like, why the fuck I want to go through all this shit and diet and put all this pressure on myself just to look good for one fucking week and try to win a show and get judged by some fucking judges. And it just sounded stupid to me. I'm like, well, shit, you don't even win any money till you turn pro, but it costs you tons of money to compete.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Right? It just didn't make any sense. And then when I broke up with my wife, the guy that she started dating after me was an IFBB pro. And I just I remember talking to her afterwards because I just took forever to come back for some of my furniture and things that were in my condo. She took my condo. So it's I don't even, if you're going to take my condo, it's what I want to come and get things out the condo. Just add insult to injury. It's if you take a man's house, just take everything that's in the house too. What am I going to do with it? So I was kind of procrastinating to finally come and get some of my last articles and shit. I literally took over a year to go get my shit. And I remember talking to her one time because she kind of ambushed me because she's like, you're working here, because I was working in the area. The job that I had at the time, I was doing audio and visual. So I was doing installations constantly in the same goddamn zip code. And she's like, you're up here, why don't you just let you look at my Instagram and be like, you're fucking working on a condo right here. Why don't you just come and get your shit? So I remember actually talking to her, and I was just like, yeah, man, you're with this fucking guy or whatever. So I try to keep my distance or whatever. So I don't even want to talk or get involved. I'm happy for you. Just move on, do your shit. And she's like, actually, no, I'm not so happy. And I'm like, this is the best looking guy you've ever been with in your life. Because in my mind, this guy was better looking than me. He was built. He was jacked. He was shredded. He was taller than me. He owned a house that was bigger than the condo that I owned. He drove a Benz. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought this guy was everything, right? And he was an IFBB pro. And she just started telling me oh, you can't believe everything you see on Instagram, and I'm fucking miserable. And I'm like, you took him to fucking Montreal, you took him to your country. And she's like, yeah, and it was the worst trip I ever had in my life.
He's got a tiny dick.
And I was like, it didn't look like that on social media. It's not what he said on his page. And she just was like, no, that's not like you think, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, listen, this guy's got an amazing body. And she's like, yeah, but his genetics aren't better than yours. The guy was Bohemian or some shit. He's either from the Bahamas or Barbados. I can't remember. And she just was like, yo, she's like, if you were to bodybuild, you would look just as good or better. I don't know why you never did it. And it was weird because people had been asking me for years. I was a dancer at the club, and a lot of the guys that worked at the club, they were also bodybuilders. They weren't that much bigger than me, or their bodies weren't that much better than me. I used to train with them. And that's how I would learn a lot about the dieting and learn what to take and all kind of shit. So people were just like, it doesn't make sense. Why don't you? And bodybuilders would tell me all the time, you got great fucking genetics. You got good tie-ins. If you was to diet down and get shredded, you'd fucking win some shit. But I never had any interest. It just didn't seem to make sense to me. Because I saw them go through it. I saw the type of money they spent, the type of time having to go home early and get up early and train and do cardio, all this bullshit. I was like, fuck that, bro. It eats into your pussy time. You're not hooking up as much.
It's hard. You got to eat twice a day. I mean,
twice a day,
once every 2 hours.
Yeah, once every 2 hours. So it just didn't make sense. But it was something about my ex-wife saying it now that struck a chord. And you have to understand, her saying that in the same year that I lost my grandfather, and he constantly would bring it up, I don't know why you don't bodybuild and get on the stage and you do it anyway. Because I played sports. Growing up, as a kid, I played sports. My grandfather was always super encouraging of competitive, sports. And I think he just felt like one of my cousins was boxing professionally at the time. He was so proud. He was so happy to see this motherfucker on TV fighting. And I guess he kind of was looking at me thinking, you should be on stage somewhere, competing, winning some medal or something. And I just kind of was like, I don't want to do that shit, Dad. But when he died, you see how it was completely different now? Now it felt like, now I was motivated to do it because I was like, I wish I had did this before he died. So I started competing and I placed top 3 my first fucking 6 shows. It took me till my 7th show to not place. And I was devastated because it had never happened before, which is not the experience that most people have when they start off something, especially like bodybuilding. They don't experience winning, you get what I'm saying, first. So that was the first time I experienced doing a bodybuilding competition, prepping for weeks and doing all this fucking stuff, and then going home empty-handed. And I, I had to accept it, and I took it well because I just took it as, it's finally your turn. Because all those times you won, you watch other people go home with nothing, and you had no idea what it felt like to prep and to do the diet, do everything like what you did, You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But go home with nothing. So it was like, if you hadn't did the show at all, it would have been the same result, really. So for me, that's when it really made me competitive. Not winning is what really made me competitive. So my 7th show, I got my ass kicked, and it was a Tampa Pro. And my 8th show was a couple of weeks later. I tried to improve, just hold the diet, try to improve some more. And because in my mind, it's like I'm used to winning. I'm used to placing in the top 3. So I'm thinking I did that shit 6 shows in a row, and this time, I got whooped. But next time it'll be like it was prior. No, it wasn't. I got whooped even worse. I went down in placing. You know what I mean? And that's when I said, okay. I went back to the drawing board, and that's when I decided I want to be a professional one day. So anyway, so I set goals. I told myself, because I've seen guys compete for years and they don't win their pro card, nothing really happens. So I believe when you set goals, you should always put an expiration date on it. You should always say, I need to do this, but I need to do it by this time. So I told myself, okay, if I don't win a pro card by 2018, I'm done with this shit. I'm still gonna love bodybuilding. I'm still gonna work out and look good and probably try to date bikini girls, because I hadn't dated any bikini girls, which is another myth. People think, oh, you bodybuild, you're dating the bikini girls. No, you're not.
I've never been attracted to the bikini girls. You find them attractive?
Well, we have different tastes completely,
Probably.
but I think they're super hot on the off season. On the off season, bro. Whew. Well, here's the thing. Now is a beautiful time. Back when I started, you only had bikini. You had bikini and figure, and obviously you're not gonna like figure in women's bodybuilding, but you only really had the bikini girls, right? So the girls that were super, super successful at bikini, you have to really get them in a bulking. You know what I'm saying? For them to look how I would like them to look. So I don't like girls skinny and slim and all like that, But some girls, the girls that might not have won all the time because they weren't as petite as the judges might have wanted them to be, those are the girls that would look the way I like girls to look on the off season. You get what I'm saying? They'd have some butt to them, some hips and some thighs and everything. So yeah, but now you got wellness. And I'm sorry, in my opinion, I think the wellness girls have the perfect proportion for a female.
I'm not even familiar with wellness.
For a woman.
I like the big, the porn star look, the big ass and nice tits. But anyway, let me ask you this question: do you fuck with PEDs at all?
Performance enhancement. Well, I mean, you kind of asked her in a question that's common sense, bro. I couldn't what IFBB Pro is going to say that he's.
That's okay. Yeah,
that'd be the most retarded.
I didn't want to just assume, be what PEDs do you take?
No. I mean, come on.
Because I take TRT and HGH personally.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
We might talk about that after the show. But
I'm super public about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, what am I supposed to say? No, I don't. No, of course not. I don't, bro. I'm not I don't have sponsors. I don't have all this kind of stuff. I don't have to
Is this still stigmatized? Is it still something that's kind of frowned upon?
Like I said, if I was sponsored and I was with this supplement and that company and that, I'd probably have to be careful because they would want people to buy the products under the pretense that their supplements is why I look like that. It's is it, or is it the Trembolone? Is it the test? Is it that, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, when you're not beholden to anybody, you don't work for anybody, what's the point of acting like how could you be an IFBB Pro and you're not on gear? Come on, everybody pretty much knows.
Do you feel if you do it right, you can avoid most of the health? Do you feel because there's a lot of people who get bad experiences, there's horror stories, but do you feel that's mostly them just not doing it correctly? And if you have good guidance, you can just
really want to talk about this motherfucker?
I mean, I find it interesting. Yeah.
I don't know, because I go the honest route, man. So yeah. I mean, honestly speaking, this is one of for me, talking about steroids with people, because this is probably the first time I ever talked about it publicly on the platform. But talking about it with people in general, for me, it's a lot like talking about Mexico. You get what I'm saying? People say a lot of stupid ass shit, a bunch of assumptions, a bunch of fears and misconceptions and stereotypes. And it's based on what? So it's yeah, man, you spend a lot of time in Mexico. Oh, I would never go to Mexico. You know how many girls told me they would never go to Mexico prior to COVID and shit like that? They're oh, Mexico's dangerous and I don't want to get kidnapped by the cartel. And no.
Yeah, that's super silly. Mexico's awesome.
It's yeah, well, how many times have you been to Mexico? Oh, I've never been. I'll never go. It's okay, look at me. Look at me in my eyes. I've been to Mexico more than 10 times. And when I go, I stay for weeks. Yeah, but no. Shut up. Look at me in my fucking eyes and listen to what I'm saying. I've been to Mexico over 10 times. When I go, I stay for weeks at a time. And I've been to several major cities. Are you really about to have this argument with me? You're telling me Mexico isn't safe based on what? On what?
No, I see
the
your point.
perception
Right.
that you're given on the news, something you saw on social media. I'm like, I'm so confused because you've never been. Do you know anybody that lives in Mexico? Oh, no. Okay, I know several people that live in Mexico. Do you know anybody else that's been to Mexico? Oh, well, my cousin went to Cancun 4 years ago. Cancun is a tourist place, bro. You might as well be in another part of America. Cancun is super Americanized. Most of the people that speak English, it's set up for tourism. Things aren't even like necessarily cheaper there because it's so tourist centered. So the point I'm trying to make is that you're like having these conversations with the average person, and they have all this. This is dangerous. That's dangerous. You shouldn't do this. I would never do this. But you have zero experience with it.
Right.
You don't know anybody that frequents this, and you're talking out of your ass based on nothing. You don't know anybody, and you yourself have no experience with this shit. But you're telling me with conviction that steroids has this side effects, and that happens, and this happens, and shrinks your dick, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, did it shrink your dick? Did it shrink your best friend's dick?
My dick is the same size it always was.
No, I'm just saying, like, to this hypothetical person, like, do you know anybody that's on a cycle? What the fuck are you talking about? What are you basing this shit on? So
yeah, I see your point. There's a lot of bad information.
Right. Those two are the exact same for me. And then it's like, oh, this person got kidnapped in Mexico. Okay, let's pay attention to the details. This person's parents are fucking in the millionaire bracket. This person was in the wrong fucking place. This person was set up and plotted on. Do you see what I'm saying? It wasn't just some random American making $60,000 a year that got kidnapped in Mexico City.
Well, this is why generally, like on this channel, what I like to do is I just like to be very transparent and honest about things. Like when I got on TRT, like I never hid it. I was just like, yep, I'm on TRT. This has been my experience with it.
Yeah, well, you're doing it the legal way anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I am doing the legal way.
There you go. There you go. You can't talk about it.
HGH, not so much, but yeah, this is a whole different story.
HGH is the shit if you're doing it, if you do it right, and
I try to, I just basically try to like be very transparent, just give like the audience like my experience, like my information, and then like stuff I don't know, I just go to people that do know.
I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you this. There are a lot of guys that are avoiding steroids, or I shouldn't even say steroids. Let's use your terminology, right? There are a lot of guys that are avoiding hormone replacement therapy for the absolute wrong reasons. Absolute wrong.
What are those wrong reasons in your opinion?
Fear, misinformation,
real,
stereotypes. So, let's see. This is the thing you got to understand. When we have conversations, right, amongst each other, guys that have experience using gear, guys will say things like, don't use that with that
right,
at that dosage for that period of time because that will happen. We're basing that on experience. We're basing that because we know how this particular drug operates, and we know that this is not the way to use it, and you don't want to do this with this, and you want to do that with that. You want to pre-cycle, you want to post-cycle, you want to blah, 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 blah. The point is, when you know what the fuck you're talking about, you understand what I'm saying? That's when you know kind of like what to avoid, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you might get side effects, or how to prevent certain side effects, how to deal with side effects. That's when you know all of that. And as you know that, guess what happens? The risk level dramatically decreases.
Sure.
And the benefits dramatically increase.
So yeah, that's kind of what I was going with that question.
You see what I'm saying? Because you know what the fuck you're doing now,
right?
And that's with anything. That's not just with gear. That's anything in life. You think people that race cars for a living, you think they're afraid to crash the car? They're working with a completely different skill set and knowledge, level of knowledge about the vehicle and about driving than the average person. So yeah, the average person driving over 85, 90 miles an hour, they're not going to be good at controlling the car. But somebody that's fucking racing at 150, 180 miles per hour for a living, do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
they can handle making these hairpin turns and shit like that. So I think it's the same thing. It's the level of experience, right? They're even dealing with females. There's certain situations, certain, whatever, that it's like, I wouldn't recommend that to the average guy. Like I wouldn't just recommend some random guy do that. Do you have some experience with these chicks? For example, dating a stripper. I wouldn't suggest that Joe Schmo date a stripper. I've dated tons of strippers. Do you see what I'm saying? And I've never been like finesse. It's never been like a stressful experience. It's never been any of those things. But because first of all, I know how to handle this demographic. I was a bouncer at a strip club for years. So what I'm trying to say is there are dangers involved in dating strippers. Yeah, there's a ton of red flags and dangers involved with dating them. But if you're somebody that has a lot of knowledge about this world and about these females, and you have experience, guess what? You could do that and make it work for you.
Yeah, that kind of answers
them.
Yeah, that kind of answers my initial question, which was like, is there a way to do it without like really significantly risking yourself? And the answer is yes, if you have knowledge and experience.
It depends on who you are. It's that simple, and that's why like some of the experience, like the advice on Fresh and Fit is just like it just has my fucking face in my hand all day because I'm just like, Jesus Christ, did this motherfucker just say that? You know what I'm saying?
What were some big ones?
No, because I'm just sitting backstage and I'm just like, you know what I mean? You're giving some really absolute advice that's not absolute. So you're basically telling certain men that certain things can't happen, certain things are impossible.
Right.
All females are exactly like this. This scenario is always going to play out like that, and all this other type of stuff. And it's like, nah. It's like, men share their resources. Women don't share their resources. That's why men don't care how much you make in your career and all this other. Really? Because if I'm fucking a stewardess, guess what I'm doing? I'm flying all over, either for free or I'm not paying full price. What are you saying, buddy? You get what I'm saying? Women don't share their resources. Every woman I put my penis in shares their resources.
Same with me, actually.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about?
Real. Same with me.
Whatever she deals in, I don't pay for that.
Rob.
So, I mean, like, are girls paying for dates and paying for stuff because you're like going out of your way to like manipulate this and do all this extra shit? Or do you just set a certain type of standard and demand a certain type of I don't want to say like a certain type of attraction, like a certain type of respect, like a certain type of presence where a woman wants to pay. If you present a certain type of presence, there's women that will want to pay because they're desperately trying to make the impression that, like, listen, I'm not like these girls. I'm not trying to play you like a foodie date. It's not like that. No. You know what I'm saying? There's girls that will feel that they need to kind of like do what I was talking about earlier, which is draw a line in the sand and set themselves apart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know you got a guy that probably pays your phone bill. I'm sure you got a guy that pays for this condo. I mean, I see you all the time during the daytime. Where the fuck do you work that you can live in a building that's $2,800 a month? I look stupid to you, mama? You're 23 years old and your rent is $2,800 and you don't have a roommate. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? You're doing something, and that's fine. Whatever it is, you can tell me. I'm not tripping because I've seen it all. So I'll give you an example. When guys see like all these basketball players and all these balls, all these rappers, and they're fucking the same Instagram models, how are they interpreting that? Why do you think it is that one particular Instagram model could say that she slept with Chris Brown, she slept with Trey Songz, she slept with this person, she slept with that person? How's that she's able to sleep with all these guys that are technically speaking in the same elite circle? They're running in the same circle. Like, why do you think that is? Or, for example, there'll be a particular lawyer, and he seems to handle like all these boxers' cases, or you give him his clientele seems to have a lot in common.
For sure.
Why is he operating in that realm so much? And what it is that those clients, they want to fuck with that person because that person has experience dealing with people in that profession. People that have those type of requests. You get what I'm saying? Like, for example, like, oh, if you're going to work for me, like, let's say you're going to be my chef, my private chef, the type of high profile people that we are, you can't be in here like taking pictures and shit. You can't be like taking pictures of our fridge and stuff. We need to know that you're not going to do some stupid shit like that. Next thing you know, the tabloids is like, oh, well, Dr. Dre eats so and so and so, and this is what's in Dr. Dre's fridge. You know how they know that's not going to happen? Because that chef has experience with dealing with people in that same level of fame. Because that client requires the same level of privacy. I
understand.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you're dealing with a female, say she's a porn star, say she's a stripper, say she's an OnlyFans girl, it's going to set her at ease to know and understand that you have experience with girls that deal with that. Because in her mind, it's like, oh, it's hard for me to date as a ... fill in the blank, because guys are always and guys are always insecure about what. So already she's telling you that for her, it's a little bit different because most guys can't handle. You see what I mean? Her lifestyle. So the moment that you're like just laid back like this, like, okay, I understand. Yes, I've dated girls, plural, that have OnlyFans. So at that moment, she's like, "Oh, okay, so you."
No, yeah.
See, now it's different.
Right.
Now it's different because people a lot of times ruin something before it even starts because they have these assumptions that it's going to be like this because that's how it's been in the past. So you're kind of like setting that person's mind at ease and letting them know, like, so I can handle this. I have experience with this. It's not a big deal. Oh, okay, so you do? Yeah, I got this. I know how to do this. So weight off that person's chest. So I think what I'm trying to say is at the end of the day, it comes down to experience. Experience. That's what it comes down to.
Let me ask you this question, because you kind of mentioned something that sometimes when you're on the Fresh and Fit show, there would be certain things that were said that you would just roll your eyes. What are like some specific ones that stand out to you where you're like, this is
the first one that I gave you, like women don't share their resources.
Right, yeah.
And that's bullshit because women do share their resources. It depends on who you are as a guy. Like what's another one? That when women say that they've been single for this period of time, that means they've just been on the carousel. I mean, are we talking about majorities or are we talking about all girls? See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about most girls. We're talking about all girls, because most guys don't sleep with girls the first night that they hang out with them.
That's true.
But I do. I would have to consciously make the decision that that's not a priority for me. Right? So I don't know who acts like, if you think that's cap or whatever, that's cute. But I've lived years, you know what I'm saying, in succession where like every chick that I dealt with, I pretty much slept with them the first time that I spent time with them. But there's a strategic way to handle yourself that's going to be the case. What I'm trying to say is that there's not definitely any ultimate value in that. That's not a big deal unless you make it a big deal. Is it a necessity for you or not? I went through a period in my life, and I had a really close friend at the time. He was a bartender where I worked, and we just made it like a lifestyle at that time. Like it was a phase for us that every night from Thursday to Sunday, every night, we had to go out, we had to meet girls, and we had to hook up that night. It might not work with the first girls. Hurry up and get the closure. Keep it moving. The night's still young. We're going to try some other girls. The point is, by the end of the night, we always did hook up. Okay? At least one of us. If there was ever an oddball night where like somebody didn't hook up, it'd just be one of us. It was like they might have been once in a blue moon. Both of us had not been able to score. Now this is like trying from like 10:30 at night all the way till like 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Sometimes it takes longer than other nights to get the job done. But we would get better at setting ourselves up to increase the probability of that happening. For example, we learned stop going to the clubs at 11 o'clock. Start going to the clubs at about 2:30 a.m. That way the fucking simps already bought these girls drinks. The girls are already tipsy. They're already oiled up and ready to go. And when you come, you're the new option that hasn't been there all this time. So they didn't already, you get what I'm saying, assess you.
Sure.
They assess the guys that were there for the past 2 hours, and now you come in. You see what I'm saying? Fresh from the car. Cologne just sprayed. Hair and everything just combed. Everything, you know what I'm saying? You just stepping out. These guys already been in there dancing, sweating. They've already been drinking. The guys are already kind of like slurry. So hey, what's up? You want to dance again? That's your competition at this point, bro. And you're just in there looking, cooler than a motherfucking, you get what I'm saying? Ice Cube, and you're fresh. You're about to have your first drink.
But not Fresh Prince.
Right. She's had her 6th drink. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So she's ready to go now. She doesn't need to stay there longer for the attention. She doesn't need to stay there longer for the free drinks and validation. She doesn't need to dance with her friends, dance with her girls. She got all that out her system already. Now she's ready to hook up. And you looking like a prime candidate. Right? So we started learning more and more how to put ourselves in positions. We started learning how to park for free. You get what I'm trying to say? We started learning, hey, you don't want to park too far away because when you're coming out of the club with the girls, you want to be able to. So you started learning all these little things from trial and error, right? You learn to already have condoms on you. You learn to already have a blanket in the trunk with a bottle of champagne. You get what I'm saying? With all the things you're going to need to fuck a girl on the beach. You already got all those things. You know the beach is fucking 10 minutes east. When you're in South Florida, everything east heads to the beach. You know that. So whether you're in Fort Lauderdale, Hollandale, Hollywood, Aventura, North Miami Beach, it doesn't matter. No matter what part you are from north to south, if you head east, you run into the beach. So if you got a cute girl with you, you got a little bit of weed, you got condoms, you got a bottle of champagne, and you got a nice little blanket, why can't you put that blanket on the fucking sand and fuck her to the full moon? Yeah, it's probably trespassing. It's probably illegal for you to be on the beach at that time. What's a little bit of risk? It makes the pussy wet.
Yeah.
The point is you were prepared for all of that ahead of time. When you left your house that day, you didn't know what was going to happen, but you were prepared for anything. And that's the difference. Now, what if you're the guy that like somehow like got a girl in the car, it's just you and her, and she came with a friend, but her friend is with your friend, and you're like, oh, so fucking cool. Like I got her, and like, okay, so I'm making out with her in the car, and then like, you know, I try to touch her, and like maybe I'm fingering her, and she's not stopping me, and where's the condom? She says she wants to smoke weed. Hey, you got any weed? Oh no, I smoke, but I don't have any weed. See what I'm saying? You pull by the beach, but it's like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna sit in the sand?
Make a sandcastle.
You don't got a blanket. you don't got a blanket to put down. Well, me personally, in that situation, I'm just gonna turn her over doggy style on the lifeguard tower, you know. But that's me. You know, I'm gonna adjust. I'm gonna make some adjustments. The point is, next time, I'm gonna have a blanket. You see what I'm saying?
I got you. All right, so let me change gears a little bit. Why did because I think a lot of people probably curious about this, why did the falling out with Fresh and Fit happen?
I mean, that shit is bullshit old news. I mean, at the end of the day,
It was like a quick summary.
At the end of the day, I knew that shit was coming. I read the 48 Laws of Power enough times to know you don't outshine the master. Law number one. And when you outshine Myron on his own show, your days are numbered. He reads the comments. So yeah, from when I started reading those comments, I already knew, bro, this guy, his ego can't handle it, bro. You got people saying, this guy should be the host of the show. This guy's more knowledgeable. This guy's more mature. This guy's more masculine. This guy's more alpha. This guy's more... How long are you going to last, you know? So, I mean, these are guys that erase negative comments, you know, out of the comment section. I mean, they're always trying to cover up criticism, whatever. So, I mean, let's be for real. So I already knew that wasn't going to last long. It's just a matter of what part of his imagination is he going to use to make up some excuse? He never really explained it. You know what I mean? The
narrative that was said is that you were like creeping out the girls, which I don't buy at all.
I don't know. That came way later though. That wasn't the first explanation he gave. The first explanation he gave was, these guys are dead weight, so we parted ways. And then he didn't want to go into detail about it. But anything else, you go into full detail. Anything else, you go down memory lane. You tell the whole story. You got sound effects in it and everything else. But when you ask about Ayindei, oh yeah, we just parted ways. Like, yeah, I used to just pay him to get the girls, and I fired him. Like, yeah, you don't want to go into detail about that. But anyway, it's like, yeah, so I brought that concept to bring the girls on the damn show. I mean, that shit is real easy to see. Why would I just make that up? That would just be goofy to make that up, bro. No, they had no intentions of that show being a show that interviewed groups of girls at the table.
Which I think was like the big thing that made the show. I think
that's absolutely what made the show.
That wasn't the case. The show would not be.
That's why the show thrived and why the show survived. It's that simple. That's why the numbers were able to shoot up that quickly, that and working the algorithm and doing all the other, put it this way, they did all the textbook things that you do. You study how YouTube works, how the algorithm works. They did all of that, but then the girls. You know what I'm saying? So they did both. It's not like they didn't do the homework and do all that shit, but they still had that gimmick that's never, ever going to go out of style. You'll never not be able to sell cars with attractive women. You'll never not be able to sell jewelry with attractive women, clothes, expensive restaurants. Since the beginning of time, beautiful women have sold every product and service imaginable to man, and they always will. So when I brought that concept, I was well aware of the impact that it would have. And I always thought to myself for years, that's what's missing in the manosphere. And what that does is it doesn't give us any credibility, and it doesn't give us any observable reality. Because we're always talking about women in their atmosphere. I mean, in their absence. Do you want to talk about motorcycles in absence of motorcycles? Do you want to talk about cars in absence of cars? Do you want to talk about breeding dogs in absence of the dogs? Like, what? There's nothing that I would like to talk about in absence of that something.
Yeah, I see your point.
You get what I'm saying?
I agree with you completely.
And
actually.
I feel like the manosphere is just men talking about women all day long with no fucking women present.
Right? Well, because most of the guys in the manosphere don't get women. That's the dirty little secret.
I mean, that too, but I just feel like it's not the same. It's not interactive. It just becomes an echo chamber and just constantly regurgitating shit over and over again. And we all know it's much more interesting to get women in a position where they're opened up and they're being honest and they're admitting things. I mean, when you can get women to speak candidly, like how they speak amongst each other, well, now you're somewhere where you need to be. Now you're in a learnable moment. You're in a teachable moment. So these guys definitely didn't do that with it. They just railroaded women into preconceived notions and narratives that they already had. It's definitely not what I had in mind. But the point I'm trying to make is if you look at how they started off, you look at what they were doing, and then you look at when I met them and I got involved and they started interviewing the girls, it's two completely different shows. It's two completely different shows. You got two guys talking about red pill philosophy and red pill truths and all this other kind of stuff amongst each other. And that's what's so entertaining. It's what's so informative. But what is it really that no other red pill channel is providing? Nothing. It's just a way better studio, and it happens to take place in Miami. But then when you add those girls to it, now you got somewhere where every guest wants to come because they get to be in an amazing studio and they get to be around a table full of beautiful women and have the same conversations they normally would have, but it being completely different because there's women here.
It's crazy because sometimes I forget how much like the average guy really lacks girls in his life and how much they're willing to pay and support something that gets them girls. Because to me, like,
to observe girls,
to even observe, because to me, like the idea of like, oh, you get to be in a room with the girls, that's like not a big deal. It's like, okay, like,
it's not a big deal to you.
I wouldn't go out of my way for that.
Because for you, that's a step backwards.
I wouldn't say it's a step backwards.
No, it is a step backwards because think about it. You're in a room with beautiful girls, with other guys and other girls, which is away from what you want to be doing. You want the girl alone with you to yourself.
That's true.
So for me personally, that's a step back.
That is true.
When I want a beautiful girl, the last thing I want to do is be in a room with a bunch of other people doing something else.
Where the girls cockblock each other.
So it's a step backwards is what I'm trying to say, right? So for example, that's like getting a girl's phone number and then being like, hey, what's your Facebook? That's a step backwards.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and I see a lot of guys doing stupid shit like that. It's like, bro, you're going backwards. You see what I'm saying? In all actuality, you might be better off not having a girl's social media if you got a phone number. That way you could just stay away from that altogether and just...
You ever see the movie Knighted, the Roxbury?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
That scene where he's like, the girl wants to fuck him and he's like, he's like still trying to pick up lines on her?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're talking your way out of the pussy. So, I mean... Yeah, I mean, there's some good aspects about what the hell they were talking about over there.
Oh, I definitely think there's some
that
good
show
aspects.
still stays entertaining. That's one thing I would say. It should still entertaining. The production value obviously is going to stay at that level.
I feel like, yeah, the kickouts and all that stuff, it's kind of like weird, but it's also entertaining. But I do feel like it's very repetitive. It's gotten like very repetitive. It's
extremely. It's always been repetitive.
It's like the same thing over and over.
From day one, it was repetitive. Like I was bored with that show after a month or two of bringing the girls. I was interested in how fast the channel was growing and where it would go and what type of guests it would have in the future. Right. But with the female aspect, I was bored right away because there's absolutely nothing unique about the conversations had with the women. It's literally the same conversation repackaged over and over again. It's the same questions, and the women are damn near forced to give the same answers, same sound effects, same analogies, same. And don't get me wrong, they're in it for a different reason. They're not in it to enlighten. They're not in it to educate. They're not in it to uplift. They want those guys to stay right where they are. You know what I'm saying? Unproductive, unsuccessful with women, worshiping them, hanging on their every word, believing their bullshit. The moment these guys start actually getting out there, getting some experience, interacting with girls, actually getting some dates, they're not going to be at home that time to watch the fucking Fresh Fit show live. It's just like the females that hustle the shit out of these guys on OnlyFans. They don't want these guys to start becoming more confident, less socially awkward, and going out and dating. If they did that, they wouldn't be able to monetize these guys' money because these guys would be too busy out on dates with real girls.
Yeah, they don't want them to simp for the girls. They want to simp for them.
That's my point. They want them to stay home and just simp for them on the computer, on the internet, and basically take advantage of the fact that this guy's lonely and he's not getting female interaction. Plus, the same thing Fresh and Fit is doing. It's like, hey, no, just stay a loser and give us your money to tell you that it's not your fault you're a loser because the world's set up against you and there's no way you can win.
Yeah.
Well, that's bullshit because if you look at a race, only one person is going to come in first place. Somebody's going to get second. Somebody's going to get third. Somebody's going to get fourth. The point is, there's only one slot for each place, right? Well, why would women be any different? First of all, these guys are acting like they're entitled to a woman because they're a guy. Knock it off. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Knock it off. Right. Where else do you see in the animal kingdom, as far as mammals are concerned, that majority of the males have mating access? That's never been the case, right? True. So if you're not willing to do what it's going to take to set you, you know what I'm saying, higher up on the pecking order, then by definition, you don't deserve pussy because you're not even willing to elevate yourself over the majority of other men. You don't got to be in the top 10%, but bitch, you better at least be in the top 35, 40% if you expect to crack. Like, you got to crack the top 40% if you want to crack some pussy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you want to crack some buns, you need to at least crack average. If average is 50%, you need to at least be above average if you want to play the game. Why would a woman have an interest in you if you're average or below? Come on, man. That's just ridiculous. Are you out here looking for girls that are at the bottom? Because that's the equivalent, right? Being in the bottom 40% for men is equivalent to being in the bottom 20% for women. Because men, we have a much wider range of attraction, right? We're attracted to a much higher percentage of females than females are attracted to males, right? So if you're not out there looking for ones and twos and threes, think about it. Bottom 20% of women, that means you're fucking twos. How many guys are out there actively looking for twos? Oh, man, look at her. She's a 1.5. Nah, bro, she's way too ugly. She's a 1.5. Oh, whoa, there's a 2 over here. There's a 2.3. Let me holler at this. Let me holler at this this 2 that snores while she's awake. You're not actively hitting on 2s. You're not looking for 2s. You're not interested in 2s. You don't want to date 2s and hold hands with 2s. So why are you entitled to access to women if you're not willing to ensure that you're at the top 40% of men and constantly working to get higher than that? Right?
Yeah, I get your point.
So you got a lot of motherfuckers that they're not successful with women because they don't even try. All right, they're not even giving it a shot. And that's unfortunate. And I get it. It's a lot harder nowadays. I'm not saying it's not a lot harder. What I'm trying to say is you have to adjust with the times, buddy.
You do.
It doesn't matter what market you're in. You got to adjust with the times.
You do.
Nowadays, everybody has to learn how to sell their product, market their product, deal with their customers and clients over the internet. You have to accept that. 10 years ago, you didn't have to accept that.
Right.
It was advantage. 20 years ago, it wasn't even a conversation. What's the internet? Did you see what I'm saying? That business hadn't transitioned to that yet, right?
Yeah. You don't want to be the AOL of dating.
Exactly. Right? It's like Chris Rock said that one time. He was like, whenever a girl tells me that she doesn't suck dick, I'm like,
do they make
bitch,
you anymore?
they still make you?
Yeah, I know that joke.
You get what I'm saying?
That's one of my favorite ones.
Right. So what I'm saying, like I was saying about if you're a black female, all you have to do is just have a better attitude than the stereotypical black female. You already have a huge advantage. And that's not a big deal. That's something you can self-adjust, right? Okay, well, for a guy, all you got to do is be a guy that cold approaches. Most guys don't cold approach nowadays. So for you to even hit on a girl nowadays in public and figure out how to do that in the right way, a tasteful way, a safe way, if you can figure out a flow, right, where you're doing that and you're flowing with it, whatever you got to do to get adjusted. Some of you guys have no experience with this shit. We'll start, motherfucker. Let tomorrow be the first fucking day you start figuring out and get adjusted, right? The point is, if you can get comfortable with that, think about the huge advantage you have over the average guy your age because dudes don't cold approach like that anymore, right? So a woman automatically is going to interpret that as a little bit more manly, a little bit more masculine than what she's used to. Because most guys will look at her, and then they'll figure out what her Instagram is and they'll DM her. Right. Hey, was that you in Publix yesterday? It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You were in Publix with her, you didn't say anything, but then you DM'd her? You know how many women tell me that? The amount of women that tell me that guys do that to them frequently. Like they'll see her, say nothing, but then he'll DM her. And then he'll be like, hey, was that you at so-and-so? Bro, you already fucked up. Women can start conversations like that and still be taken seriously. If a guy starts a conversation asking a question that she knows, that you know the answer to, bro, you're telling her off rip that you're indirect. That's her speed. You get what I'm saying? She's the indirect one. She needs the guy to be the direct one.
Well, I do. Yeah, I think that's a good side point. Well, let me ask you one more question on the Fresh and Fit thing because this is something I was kind of curious about myself. What was like the night of the infamous video? What was like your goal? Like, did you want to just like talk it out? Did you want? Like,
oh hell no!
What was like your intention?
No, hell no! I wanted to beat him to a bloody.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man. I got tired of this motherfucker talking shit, lying to me, lying about me, lying on me, avoiding me. Like for example, he's now in a current lie about me now. Now he's put on his Reddit that I forced. Shit, I wish I had the phones. I want to word for word this motherfucker. Yeah, but he put like on his Reddit that Ayindei forced, and he used the word forced twice. Ayindei forced Mrs. Cheeks to force a false allegation false grape allegation on an innocent man. Whoa. That statement is so loaded. It's so loaded. You put force in there twice as if it made it more true. Okay. Force, the first force. Okay. What's the definition of force? Because where did I force her? And then, but the headline was Mrs. Cheeks exposes Ayindei for forcing her to file a police report. It's like, okay, that title insinuates that this is something that I did, and she's exposing me. Like she's telling you, oh, this is what Ayindei did. Okay, you read the so-called evidence, and it's a screenshot of text messages from her, and she says, Ayindei took me to the police station last night. He said I should press charges. Okay, where's the aspect of force there? And she said those two things out of order. I didn't take it to the police station and then say, hey, we're at the police station. I think you should press charges. That's certainly not how that happened. She told me what happened. I said, I'll help you how I can, but I'm not a professional. I don't know anything about this shit. But hey, I do have a detective. I do have a client, an old client of mine that's a detective in Miami-Dade. Let me call him. Yeah, he doesn't do special victims, but he's a detective. He knows detectives from the special unit. So I called him and I asked him. She told him what happened. The same thing she's told everybody, Twitter and all the platforms that she's been on. And he said, yes, you should definitely tell the police, right? He said, this is where you need to go. And these are the people you need to speak to. So this is what the detective told her. I said, I'm not a professional. I don't know, but I'll call one, right? So hearing the same story that she told everyone else, that was his professional recommendation, right? So we already had this conversation. So I said to her, listen, the guy called me again because I told him to contact someone in that department and let them know whatever. That way she'd be more comfortable, whatever, going, if you could find a female or whatever.
Sure. That's
my help, okay? Mind you, I said the same thing to her that any guy that heard that story would say. Well, if you're claiming this, right? If what you're saying is true, right? Because it isn't about whether or not I forced her to go. I didn't force her to do anything. That's a fact. I didn't force her to do anything. What I did was I believed what she told me and said, now, if that is true, then you need to go tell that to the police. That's what I'm asking. Like, why didn't you go say that to the police? Many other men ask that same question. The lead attorney asks that question.
I've asked that question a bunch of times.
Exactly. Yeah. Any man that hears the story, that's the question he's going to ask. Like, it's kind of common sense. Well, if what you said happened, well, why didn't you go to the police?
Right.
Same as one would ask Myron, well, if Ayindei broke the lock on your door, if he kicked in your door live on a live stream, that's breaking and entering, why didn't you call the police? See, that would be the question. And if he says, oh, no, I did call the police, and I'm okay, so why isn't Ayindei arrested then? Why isn't he charged with this? Did you see how that's just the correct line of thought?
Yeah, I see your point, man.
Right? So for his subs or whoever to be acting like, oh, how dare Ayindei give her a ride to the police department? Or how dare I force her to tell the police the same thing that she's told everyone? Where's the force mechanism? What am I forcing her with? Am I putting my hands on her? Am I threatening her with violence? Am I blackmailing her? I'm just asking us a legit question here. Where's the element of the force?
Right. Force would imply that you were like trying to convince her and being like, come on, no, you should do it.
No. Right. Convincing is not force. Force is making someone do something. Right? With some type of force, whether it be physical or be some type of blackmail or some type of threat. So where's the mechanism of force? Because if we're talking about convincing her, hold on, time out. You're talking about a dude that talked hella shit about me. I told him I'm gonna come see you. When I came and seen him, he avoided fighting with me. And instead of coming in and addressing me in the hallway like a man and accepting my invite, like a real man would, what did he do? He went and pulled out a firearm and then threatened my life, told me he'd blow me away.
Yeah, that was kind of
Then the same man went and told thousands of people that I kicked in his door and broke his lock when that was clearly a damn lie. So he made a conscious decision to lie, right? And embellish whatever it was that I did, amplify it, exaggerate it, when it would have been trespassing at best. But because he invited me into his home 3 times on camera live and then went and posted it on the internet, He posted it on the internet. So you posted the evidence that takes away the element of a crime committed by Ayindei. You're posting the evidence of you telling me to come in your home. I opened your front door and told you to step out into the hallway and come address me. And you said, you pulled out a gun and said, don't do it. Don't do it. I'll blow you away, man. I'll take your life. And then you say, come in. Well, come in then.
Do you think that there would have been an option for if he, like, let's say there was no firearm, he just went out there and he talked to you man to man. Do you think there's a way it could have been resolved without a fight? Like,
absolutely not.
At that point, no?
Absolutely not. I didn't come there to talk about shit. He had plenty of opportunities to talk and clear it up. And he can't clear it up because everything he's doing is conscious. You consciously told the Patreons, the subs of your channel who paid for $500 VIP tickets, you consciously chose to tell them that I'm the reason the party failed when it isn't, and that I have their money, and that's why you're not going to give them a refund. That's a blatant lie. That's not a miscommunication. That's not a misunderstanding. That's not a mistake. That's you deciding to use me as a scapegoat.
So there was a lot basically leading up to this. Like there was a lot of
right.
well,
exactly. There were several. Then you went on your channel right after that. You went on your channel and told everybody, oh, parted ways with Ayindei and Larger. We no longer work with them. They're dead weight and they're losers and they're bums. Wait a minute. I'm dead weight, but I brought the concept to your show that's been working for you that you would not dare to stop doing. As amount of times as he's on air telling girls, we don't need you. No, because I'm tired of bitches coming on the show acting like we need you. We don't need you bitches. We'll be fine just without you. Really? Because you've never attempted to do that show without women on there. But you say that you don't need them and you don't want no girls coming on here thinking that you need them. You ain't special, bitch. I don't need you. Yeah, you might not need her as an individual, but you need pretty girls, pretty faces, and big butts in those seats. Who are you kidding? Stop trying to hide the obvious. I get it. It works on these little kids, these little boys, but no grown-ass man with experience in life can't see through this bullshit. We know the show wouldn't be what it is if it was just you and Walter. Nobody cares about you goofy motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying? So, but why are you going out of your way to try to, who are you trying to convince? You're trying to convince the girls or convince yourself? Because the girls don't buy that shit. The girls know damn well you would not go through the effort of getting 4 times as many of them per show as yourself. Think about that. It takes 4 times as many females as you and Walter to make that show interesting. You don't have 2 girls on there. You don't have girls that are somebody that wrote a book, that are doing this, doing that. You have average, everyday, pretty girls on there, and you have to have 4, 5, 6 of them at a time. You think the girls haven't figured out that you're using them as eye candy? That's the normality for them. That's not something unique for them. Women understand that concept. How do they sell alcohol at clubs? How much is alcohol at the liquor store? How much is alcohol at the club? Well, why is there so much at the club? Because there's girls at the club. Guys don't come to the club for alcohol, bro. They don't come for the music either. They have SoundCloud and they know where the liquor store is.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Right? They come to the club because the ladies are there. That's why the club says ladies come for free, because they use the ladies to get the guys to buy the alcohol. Well, guess what? Fresh and Fit pays their male customers to come on, but they don't pay their female customers to come on. It's the same concept. You get a bunch of pretty girls to come on the show. You leverage clout or whatever you got to do, right? And then the guys now all watch because there's girls there. And I can like super chat and I can like comment and interact with them. And I don't have anything cool to say. So I'll say something rude. I'll say something disrespectful. Yeah, she's got to respond to that. I'm getting attention from girls.
Rob.
Just like a fucking disobedient child. Just like a kid whose dad is never around, but you know if you get suspended from school, your dad pops up.
Rob.
So what do you start doing? You start acting out because you know it's going to get you the attention that you crave. That's what the subs do on the Fresh and Fit show. They literally pay and comment and insult the girls because they know they're more likely to get a response insulting the girl than they are saying, the girl in the red shirt, she's really hot. You know that's not going to get a response.
Right.
So what do? You degrade her, you talk down to her, you do all this other bullshit, and now all of a sudden she cares. She cares. She's interacting with you now because she's trying to prove something. You see what I'm saying? Because she feels offended. She needs to defend herself. Like, no, that's not true. Come on. It's psychological bullshit, right? But those same dudes, and when the show is over, they're in the girl's DM trying to like compliment her, trying to like meet up with her and saying, hey, I know you like it. What the fuck? But you're the same dudes that were insulting her in the comments.
Yeah, I see your point. Let me ask you this question. One last question on this. Has there been any kind of resolution? Like, have you guys like since
there isn't and they won't be. Like this shit will go on. Like it's funny because people say to me, "Oh, you can't stop talking about Fresh and Fit. You're clout chasing and all this other bullshit." First of all, you dummies are over here assuming that you know what my incentives are and my intentions are. If you study me a little bit, you see that doesn't even make any sense. I didn't care about clout when I was with Fresh and Fit. And there's so many things I could have talked about to get clout a long damn time ago. Bro, I could have been talking about the Fresh and Fit channel when I was still with them. Think about that. If I cared about blowing up off of Fresh and Fit while I was with them, I would have been doing shows covering their shows. And I would have been talking about the fact that I'm on the Fresh and Fit show while I'm doing my chat. I never mentioned their shit on my shit. I never mentioned asking someone to subscribe to my channel. I've never asked myself to like any of my stuff. My fucking channel's not even monetized. Like, come on, get serious, bro. I never really cared about it that much. It is what it is. Here's the thing. First of all, if you look at how many videos on my channel, less than 10% of them are about Fresh and Fit. Now, I posted 2 videos about Fresh and Fit recently because of this particular situation and this bullshit that Myron is trying to spin. Okay, but yet you got 8 videos in a row prior to that aren't about Fresh and Fit. And then every video that you see that is just me reusing content that involves me that was on somebody else's channel who wanted to talk about it. So what are you really saying? You get what I'm saying? I could have made all of those videos then. Not only that, but every time that I've made a video about Fresh and Fit and put on my channel, it's been in direct response to something they recently said or did involving me. Pay the fuck attention.
Right.
So the first video I made about Fresh and Fit was addressing that he lied to the subs and told them that I have their money and also the bullshit. Why would I not address that and tell people all at one time, I don't have your fucking money. These guys are lying pieces of shit and I can prove it. Then when I went to his fucking place, it's because I spoke to him early and he straight lied to me and told me that conversation never happened when the sub sent me a recording of the conversation. You're telling me a conversation didn't take place that I heard myself because I was sent the recording. So you're blatantly fucking lying to me. What part of me plays that shit? I don't give a fuck if it's Myron or some motherfucker that works at Walmart. Nobody's gonna fucking lie to me and lie on my goddamn name and then fucking avoid me and act like it's not gonna be consequences for this shit. Y'all motherfuckers think that this shit's about Myron. This is about any man doing the bullshit that Myron did. Myron just happens to be a content creator on YouTube. What if he wasn't? Do you really think I'd be handling it any different? Think about this for a second. If he didn't have a fucking podcast on YouTube and he did what he did or did what Miss Cheeks claims that he did, would I not tell her the same thing? Why don't you go tell the police on this guy that works at Walmart?
What exactly did she say that he did?
Well, I don't even want to get too far into that because that's like their bullshit.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he's already trying to act like I'm so motivated to like force her. The point I was trying to make earlier is somebody that did all the shit that he just did to me recently. Lied on my fucking name, told people that I have their fucking money, stole my goddamn idea and ran his fucking podcast off of that shit, right? I provided all the goddamn girls that got that show off the ground, that gave them the consistency to be known for that in the first place. There's still recycling girls that I brought on there till this day.
I feel like the girls used to be hotter back when you were involved in the show.
Well, that's a fact. And they were more in abundance. It was more consistent, more girls, and better looking girls. Now the girls, dude, there's so many girls they bring on there that I would have never brought. Skinny, ugly, ghetto, like all kind of shit. It's like, bro, what do you even do? Like, dude, there's so many episodes where it's like, you got 3 good-looking girls and 4 or 5 ugly girls. You would have been better off with just the 3 good-looking girls. But you're too busy trying to prove a point. You're too busy coming from a place of insecurity because you're trying to show, no, Ayindei is not the one. We still got all the girls. So you're just putting anything in those seats. Like, that's not necessary, bro. If you were confident with it, you would just simply have 2 or 3 girls. They have in the past. When I was there, sometimes they would only be 2 or 3 girls and it was fine. Why now does it have to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? They had no jumper on there. They had so many girls that it just, what was the point of that? It was overkill, bro. So what I'm trying to say is somebody that did all that bullshit still doesn't want to fucking fight me as a fucking man, yet none of his subs are asking him that. Like, yo, bro, what just happened to these? What's wrong with these? Win or lose? I could win or I could lose. I'm prepared to lose a fucking fight tomorrow. I picked up a sparring partner that was fucking 6'3", right? And sparred with this person for months just to be prepared to fight somebody taller than me. Because I'm assuming this motherfucker can fight. I don't assume anybody can't fight or can't defend himself or handle himself. That would just be stupid. I know that he's fucking trained in self-defense. I know he's trained using firearms. And so my point is, somebody that did all of that, pulled a fucking gun out on me, then lied and said that I broke the lock off their door and all this intentional fucking shit. If a girl is telling me, mind you, she's not the first girl to tell me shit like this. That's another thing you guys don't know. She is not the first girl to tell me shit like this. But just because I don't know those girls personally, and this shit happened long before the podcast, long before, what do you want me to do? Tell a girl that claims Myron did this, and this in 2019. I'm supposed to convince her to go to the police station and press charges for something that she says Myron did in 3 years ago? Do you see where I'm going with this?
Right.
I don't know that girl. That doesn't make her credible. But other girls told me shit in the past. I just didn't care. I just ignored it because it's like, that's not my business. And it happened a long time ago. I just want to know if you want to come on the podcast. Apparently you and this person already have history. Moving on. There's plenty of other girls to ask. Mm-hmm. But the point is, when you have several different people saying something similar, there's something to that. Mm-hmm. You see how you said that guy, he just like goes in the room with the girl and then he just takes off his clothes and just lays in the bed and puts a condom on like that?
Yeah.
If 3 different girls told you that, wouldn't you just accept that maybe that's just what that guy does? Do you see what I'm saying? 3 different girls that don't know each other said, that guy's a creep. He's weird. Like he brought me home to his place. Then he left the room and then he came back in the room naked and just laid down on the bed naked with a condom on. I didn't know what to do. It creeped me out. 3 different girls that never met each other tell you that about the same guy. How are you in a position to doubt any 3 of those girls' story at this point?
Yeah, I definitely see your point, man.
You see what I'm saying? So if a person did all that shit to you, right? And then a girl is telling you that he recently just did X, Y, and Z to her. And you're like, wait a minute. I remember some other girl saying something like that and sending screenshots and I just ignored it. Would you just discredit her entire story because she's a little insecure and she's a little cuckoo or whatever the case may be? Or would you say, it sounds more to me like he took advantage of you because you were quiet, shy, insecure, and alone? That doesn't
allegedly,
right? Allegedly,
yeah.
But my point is, these guys keep acting like because she's like some kind of questionable character, that means that a guy can do the things that she claims that he did, and it's okay. That doesn't make it okay, dumbass. That doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, obviously, it's never okay.
Right? She's still a female. She's still a human being.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what decisions or choices she makes in her life. Right? Certain things are right. Certain things are wrong. Certain things are illegal. Certain things are legal. So if she's telling me these things, and then I relay that to a detective, and the detective's saying, yeah, that sounds like something she might want to tell the fucking police, and the detectives need to look into that. Let them decide what's legal and illegal. That's not up to me. That's not up to Myron. That's not up to the Fresh and Fit subs. That's not up to her. That's up to the law, what they say is legal and not legal. This is the same goofball that just did an episode with 2 lawyers talking about the laws in Florida about breaking and entering, the laws in Florida about standing your ground, the castle law and this law. Okay, so you understand about you or me. It's about what the Florida law says is trespassing. What does Florida law say is breaking and entering? What does Florida law say about standing your ground? Well, guess what, fuckface? It's the same situation with you and any female that you interact with. It's whatever Florida state law says. Okay, you don't determine whether or not what you did was legal or illegal. If she says you did these things and you did do those things, let those people decide whether that's legal or illegal. Now, if you're going to be lying on my name, saying that I did this and I did something illegal and all these type of things you're claiming that I did, I creeped out the girls, how many lies you going to tell on me, fucker? And then you think that I'm going to be in a situation where a girl's telling me that and I'm not going to suggest to her that she goes to the police? If I didn't know Myron or have a problem with Myron, I would have told her the same exact thing.
Yeah, I see your point.
You need to go to the police about this.
Yeah.
So don't get mad at me that I offered her a ride.
Right. I see your point. Like, as a guy, whenever you hear a story, because any guy pretty much who's in the game has heard like those kinds of stories from chicks, and your initial first reaction is always, did you go to the police? Mm-hmm. Like recently, my girl's friend got raped, and when my girl told me that story, my first question was, did she go to the police? That's like, I think that's like a normal first question for
because for you, that's what kind of makes it real or not, even though obviously that's not the female experience.
Right. Yeah. Their experience is totally different. Right, they almost never go to the police.
You know what's funny? I was just about to say, the funny thing about females is if you go do the studies on rape statistics or sexual assault or sexual
almost
battery,
never go to the police.
The majority of girls who actually were assaulted or violated actually do not report it. Well, and that's why majority of what is reported is false allegations. Because for whatever reason, those girls are more motivated and they don't have the emotional attachment to it because it's a lie, because it actually didn't even happen. But for the girls that it did happen to, every time they have to go fill out that paperwork and go talk to them, they have to go relive it. They have to relive it.
I don't even think it's like the majority of the accusations are false. I think they did a study on this and they found it's like less than 10% of like the accusations are false or something like that. I don't know how accurate the study is.
I don't know how accurate that could be.
Yeah, but
the point is it's a fucking mess. And if this person was anything like what he claims to be, he wouldn't be in a mess like this. So it's funny how his subs defend him so earnestly. And it's like, you don't get it. If this guy is what he tells you he is, he would have never found himself in a situation like this to begin with. All right?
Yeah.
Not even close. And this is the same guy telling you, guys, always wear a condom. According to these girls, you never wear a condom. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a whole element, there's a huge element of like saying one thing and doing another thing, but that's a whole different, like,
well, that's one thing, but it's another thing with everything that you say, you do the opposite. You over here act like, oh, I only mess with 8, 9s, and 10s. I'm selective. Oh, she's not an 8, 9, or a 10.
No,
you get it? And I've never seen you with one. All the girls I've seen this dude trying to smash has always been subpar, and you're the one chasing them. You're supposed to be somebody, but yet I've never seen you with one groupie. There's never been a girl that had an interest in him, pursued him, asked to take a picture with him, DM'd him, nothing. It's always you got to be the thirst and come to them. You always got to invite them somewhere, offer all this shit, leverage all this shit, promise all this shit. Why are you working so hard, bro? You're overworking yourself. All the guys I know at your height, they ain't got to overwork themselves. Girls are already interested in them. I've never had to overwork myself. I've never had to train girls for free, offer girls this, leverage that, leverage this. I'll give you a hookup on that. I'll help you with this. I'll manage your OnlyFans. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I've never had to do all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm Slim Shady. Hi, my name is. That's the extent of what I gotta fucking do to get the interest of a chick. She's with it or she's not. And my point is, I get it. That's not every guy's experience. But if you claim that's your experience, you're charging for dating advice, bitch, show me that you know something about it. Because you're over here charging guys to tell them how to get girls, yet you can't get girls. And in the way that you are trying to get girls, it's something that any guy could do. Like, think about it. Like, why would I need to pay you for advice when I could just leverage my business? Why pay you for advice when I could just get a secret arrangements? I could go set up an account there and offer girls money. Like, the way that these guys get girls, that's not something you need to coach somebody on. Fresh fucking got fake press releases, rented cars, you know, all this rented bullshit on your Instagram to create lifestyle and make your lifestyle look exciting. And then you jump in a girl's DM and offer to fly her out. I'm sorry, dude, anybody can invest in that. That's not something you need to teach a course on. Do you get what I'm trying to say, bro? Just go put a bunch of fake shit on your Instagram, DM girls and offer to pay for their flight to wherever you live. That works. That's working for the average guy.
Well, what I see as the most problematic is they're not teaching in the course, hey, leverage your podcast to get laid, right? Because no one has a podcast besides like a small select. So what they're teaching is not what actually they're doing themselves. That's what I see as problematic is if my whole thing is like, hey, listen, guys, you don't need to simp for these chicks. You can use real game to get girls, but then you're simping for the girls. That's problematic. If you're just saying, hey, guys, I'm going to teach you how to simp for the girls, that's fine. Yeah, that's your strategy. So
it can work.
That's kind of what I took issue with. When I made, and the whole cloud chaser thing is something I've been accused of multiple times as well. It's a really bad argument because according to that argument, you can't ever criticize anyone who's more popular than you. Like, so what? Like, I can never criticize anyone who has more subs than me because they have more subs.
That shit is a high school argument for me.
Yeah,
that's literally the arguments I used to have in high school.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah, I'm cooler than
like,
you.
yo, this fucking rapper is gay. Oh, you're just fucking hating. No, I'm saying that because look at what the fuck he's wearing. Like, why would he be wearing something like that? Look at how he's acting. Look at how he's behaving. Oh, no, you're just hating. You're hating. You're hating. It's like, okay, so everybody that has more money than me, I'm not allowed to criticize them.
Right.
I'm automatically hating for making an observation. And you're following this person. Cameron is wearing pink and wearing big, goofy earrings and jewelry like a chick. And now you think that it's cool to wear a pink fur coat. But guess what? It's not going to work for you like it works for Cameron. But you're over here following this dude, and he's got all these weird-ass mannerisms and influences or whatever, but we're not allowed to criticize him because, he's a successful rapper right now.
Right.
So this is the type of arguments I used to have in high school, and I just got frustrated. It's like, you can't say shit about shit because you're automatically going to be relegated to being a hater. So now that these guys are responding to me like that, I'm sorry, but you guys are 25 years late. You guys are 25 years late. This is the type of arguments I was having when I was a teenager. So, like, bro, I'm not going to have this stupid, silly argument with you. You don't have to believe, you know what I'm saying, who I am or what I'm about or whatever. You don't fucking know me. You're trying to judge me from some stuff on on YouTube? You're judging me by what Myron said? Oh, isn't that guy a pimp? Dude, definitions in math matter to me. Like math, it matters to me, right? Facts, they matter to me. Definitions of words matter to me. So when Myron puts, oh, Ayindei is forcing Miss Cheeks to force a grape allegation on an innocent man, those are a lot of words that you're misusing. There's no force, and then she doesn't have to force an allegation if the police determine her story is, in fact, there's a crime involved somewhere there. So what matters is whether or not her story is truthful. If what she tells the police is the truth, and they determine that there's some type of crime there, then there's no forced Grape allegation. It's just a grape allegation. There's no false and there's no force because it actually happened and she's accusing you of it. Go settle it in court. And then on an innocent man. Who said you're innocent? Who said you're innocent? A dude that provokes and instigates conflicts with females on a daily basis at his show? A guy that's constantly degrading women, abusing women verbally all the time? Now you're accused of being abusive sexually? And you're declaring innocence? You lie habitually. You've been caught in so many lies in the past 3, 4, 5 months. So go ahead and riddle me how you use the word innocent. Who's determining that you're innocent? Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
the wording that he's using. So I noticed the subs, they have the same type of vocabulary. Your vocabulary is like selective. Like you decide what these words mean. So when you accuse me of clout chasing and you use all these words, like, how do you know that you don't know me? How do you know what's going on in my head? How do you know what, you see what I'm saying?
Well, I think this is why this interview is good. It's like to get your side of the story.
So these guys are fucking clowns, bro. And it's worse than when girls talk. Girls usually is who you have to accept doing that they use words creatively and colorfully to mean whatever, whenever, however. They don't stick to what the word actually means. Like, this guy's a creep. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. No, I mean, this is
creep.
one of the things that Freshman Fit always says is that, men work with logic, women work with emotions. That's not true. Men can be very emotional. On average, men tend to be more logical and women tend to be more emotional.
But this generation.
But men can be so emotional, and yeah. So
this generation is definitely losing it. So yeah, it's like it's
yeah.
The camera just stopped.
It turned off.
Yeah, even though I've been charging.
You said it was charging.
Yeah, it has been charging. So
What? Why did it turn? Why
the camera turned off, but the audio is going on. So.
The audio still going. All right, guys.
That's gonna be weird.
Yeah, that's gonna be weird. Let's you know what? Let's do this because we've kind of ran for 2.5 hours.
Oh, did we? Shit.
Yeah, let's do this. We're gonna be doing. I was gonna do a live Q&A, but we'll do it tomorrow. So Ayindei is gonna be rolling in tomorrow with 3 chicks or 2 chicks. We're just still deciding.
It's 3.
3. Okay. Ayindei is gonna be rolling in with 3 girls, and we can do a live Q&A then. I think it's gonna be better because you guys can also get the girls' take on the question. And
nice.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing it tomorrow. At what time did you say? 8?
Oh shit! Why is it? What the fuck? Why do I feel like it's
going on?
The audio is still good. Well, yeah, let's just close it out. So tomorrow, guys, tune in. It's gonna be around 8 o'clock. It's gonna be Ayindei in the studio with 3 girls, and we're gonna be answering all your questions. This kind of ran long, but it's okay. I think we got a lot of good stuff. Yeah, you have any closing thoughts?
Man, listen. When it comes to this thing, you guys got to decide what it is that you want, one thing at a time. Like, what's really important? I mean, exploring with girls or enjoying women all around, every aspect of the experience, whatever it is, decide for yourself what that is, and then come up with a plan that's systematic and patient. I think there's a lot of dudes out here trying to get from 0 to 100. And it's like, it's not even realistic, bro. I mean, you have to think to yourself, a lot of these guys, they're not even in a position where they would know what to do if they went up to a hottie and asked her out and she said yes. They wouldn't even know what to do from that point on. Or if they just DM'd the girl and asked her out and she was like, okay. They wouldn't even know what to do with the rest of that.
That's true.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want to go to a nightclub and then have to wait online for 45 minutes, an hour? And then you get in there, you can only afford a couple of drinks. And then, like, you can't afford to get a table. You can't afford a bottle. You're just struggling in that environment. You just become a fly on the wall. And you waited in line to be that fly on the wall. And then you spend what money you have, and then you go home alone. Wouldn't you rather, like, do whatever it is that you got to do for a year, maybe 2 years, to put yourself in a position where you can dominate that environment? You get what I'm saying? You can at least come prepared. You're making more money now. You have more money. Maybe you're a little older, you grew a fucking beard. Maybe you took the time to network with some guys and meet somebody that works at the club that can kind of give you a hookup where you don't got to wait online no more. Your boy's the bouncer there. When you come, you just get a head nod, you're on the list or something. I'm saying put some things in place that give you some type of advantage so you don't just got to be a fucking loser in any particular environment. Like, same thing as the gym, like picking up girls in the gym. Are you in a place yet to pick up girls in the gym? Are girls looking at you yet? Are you working out, looking in the mirror, and you catch girls behind you, looking at you, checking you out because they think you can't see them, but you're seeing them in the reflection? If you're not there yet, you're not there yet. Why be the guy that's like going up to the girl now, groveling and struggling to try to like make conversation with her and ask her out when she already has her gym crush? There's already a guy in there that she's looking at thinking, yo, he's so hot. I wish he would come and talk to me. But he never does. Or maybe he does. And she's fucking him in the back seat of his, car in the parking lot after her workout. What I'm trying to say is you want to be that guy, not the guy that's like, hey, hi, I've seen you a few times here before. Do you come here often? Oh, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Obviously, you come here often. Okay, well, what's your name? You don't want to be that guy, bro. You get what I'm saying? So maybe you need to be the guy that puts 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months into the gym and build some type of foundation first. So at least when you do kind of like run into that girl at the water fountain and she's making her little fucking pre-workout, you're like, hey, how you doing? I see you around working out. And then she looks at the width of your shoulders and see that you've been doing something for the past 7 months. She takes you seriously. So what I'm trying to say is I feel like a lot of guys are trying to do something way too early. Like what you're trying to do, you haven't put any groundwork in yet to even deserve results in that area. What the fuck have you been doing that puts you in a position where you expect to be a guy that's going to get good results with what the fuck you're about to attempt to do? Because what happens is these guys finally muster up, they try to attempt certain things, and then they don't work, and then it's the girl's fault. It's society's fault. It's this, it's that. It's girls only like this, and girls only that, and it's like, how much work did you put in on yourself before you tried that bullshit? Because the guys that is working for, they did something prior why it works for them. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, for example, you pull up to a girl and you're in your
I see your point.
Toyota Corolla.
You're talking about like delayed gratification, not expecting results like prematurely.
Right.
Which it's the equivalent of a guy who goes to the gym and he tries a few different lifts. He doesn't get jacked and he's like, bodybuilding doesn't work, right? It's not that bodybuilding doesn't work. Bodybuilding works if you do the right stuff. You just haven't really done it. It's the same thing with
over the period of time.
Yeah. So you can't bodybuild in like a span of a week, right? It takes
what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, I see your point, and I think that's a good point.
Guys need to just be a little bit more patient with it and stay focused. Do what you got to do, grind, and I guarantee you, when the reward finally comes, it's going to be consistent because it's going to be the normality because you already built a foundation for it. It makes sense. It works. So, for example, maybe your fucking stoplight game isn't going to really be that effective if you're driving a Toyota Corolla. Maybe that's your first or second car. But if you fucking bust your ass, you save some fucking money, you meet the right people, you get the right hookup, you get the right car, maybe in a BMW, a Lexus, or a Mercedes-Benz, now your stoplight game is effective.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But you put in the time to earn the money, to build the credit, to save the down payment, to do whatever the fuck you had to do to be able to afford that car that maybe a girl can take seriously. Because see, this is the thing. Guys are quick to say that, oh, it's the car and girls only care about what car. Are you sure it's the car? Or is what the car represents, what it symbolizes? The man that can drive that car is a man that does understand delayed gratification. It's a man that did put in the time already. He did put in the work. He did build a foundation. So now she could take him seriously because he already is something. He made himself something. If you're coming to her in a Toyota Corolla, you're not really showing that you put in any of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what does that really say? How does that set you apart from everyone else? Why should she stop for that when that's the norm or below the norm? Why should she stop for something that's in abundance? If she stopped for every Toyota Corolla, she would never get anywhere. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
I do, yeah.
So make yourself something for her to actually stop. You know what I'm saying? It's worth her stopping and saying, what does this guy have to say? Okay, I'll go out with this guy. Let me see what he's about. And you shouldn't be doing that for the women anyway. Obviously, you should have just been doing that for you to just be a better you. What I'm trying to say is a lot of guys have to understand that it's like Scarface said, bro. First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. Well, that's pretty much what it is. And you try to jump the line, bro, it's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good. And all the time that you're wasting either trying to get these women's attention or whining and complaining that you're not getting these women's attention is time you could have been using to get better at something. And that something will later become attractive to women once you finally get good at it. Whether it be bodybuilding or selling used fucking cars or day trading or whatever the fuck. Once you get good at it and you're getting great results with it, then a girl can say, oh, who's this guy?
Yeah, fair point. One thing I would add is my belief is that you can kill two birds with one stone. So you should get pretty good at budgeting your time, and like you can train, you can
Oh yeah,
work
still
a business.
practice, obviously.
Yeah. So they'll be like my take on it. But yeah, anyway, great podcast. We're gonna pick this up tomorrow
For sure.
because we're off video right now. And I
Yeah, we'll see what the chicks got
massively.
to say. You know, they're pretty cute too. So we'll see what they got to say.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right. Peace. Yeah.